meeting to order. Tiffany, please take the roll.
Councilman Harjo.
Present.
Councilman Whitlow. Present. Councilman McCarthy.
Present.
Councilman Sanders.
Present.
Mayor Sykes.
President, let the record reflect we do have a quorum for Tuesday, April 28, 2026. We're going to run down to recognizing persons in the audience. Would somebody like to get up and speak for 3 minutes? I'm not going to read the long dissertation. Come on down, sir.
I'm James Newton. Mayor, members of the City Council. The city recognized when Title X was adopted, the rural communities are often left with limited internet choices, higher prices, and service that is slow and unreliable. Those of us outside of LID1 and the newer construction areas are still facing the same problems today that were existed when this utility was first created. Residents should not be dealing with these problems when Title X was supposed to address them. Reliable high-speed internet is essential for everyday life with work, school, telehealth, home businesses, streaming, smart home technology, and personal security all depend on a strong, dependable connectivity. If certain aspects of LID1 funding raised concerns, this council has more than enough time to review them since LID2 was placed on indefinite hold in June 24, 2025, pending their resolution. Since then, the council has had an additional time, including April 3rd, 2026, the special fiber workshop to ask questions and gather information. I respectfully believe the time has come to move the review to action and allow LID2 to move forward. By approving it, you will build upon the city's existing fiber infrastructure and will help lay the foundation for broader internet modernization throughout the city. You will make Mountain Home an example of what a small rural Idaho community can accomplish when it refuses to settle for limited choices, slow speeds, and unreliable service. By choosing to move forward, you will show that one town, one team is not just a slogan, but a shared commitment to serve this community today and well into the future. So tonight, I respectfully ask the council to place LID2 expansion on the May 12th City Council agenda and take a formal action to move it forward. Residents have waited a long time for fast, reliable internet service, and you have an opportunity to provide that. Thank you.
Anybody else?
Mayor, City Council. My name's Carl Heffaker. I've been a railroad engineer for over 50 years, and I'd like to discuss the railroad industrial park for a couple of minutes if I could. In December of 2011, there was a FRA inspection done on the track between North Haskett and the Elm Crest extension. The people at that inspection, it was UPRR, Mountain Home Air Force Base, EnviroCare of Idaho, West Rail Construction, and myself. An estimate was prepared to bring that track up to a level that would allow the UP to put cars on track 772, which is the main track between North Haskett and Elm Crest. I believe that estimate was given to the city. Anyway, nothing was done because EnviroCare decided to back out of they decided they didn't want to use that track. So anyway, in 2015, I was present for another walkthrough inspection of the track. This was track 719, that's the south leg of the Y, and then track 772. The UPRR was there, Mountain Home Air Force Base, City of Mountain Home, and myself. And what I did was make a updated estimate what the cost would be to upgrade the tracks. And I don't know if the city did anything. That was the last I heard of it. So anyway, 2019, Mountain Home Air Force Base gave the city the track, 3.5 miles of track. It extends from North Haskett all the way across Highway 67 over to the old Air Base Highway. I believe that's what they call it. So that was in 2019. So in 2020, the city hired CRS to come and do a rail assessment. And one of my questions is why didn't we use the estimate for the rail from before and just update it? CRS charged a total of $50,000, of which $10,000 was used as their inspection of the track between Haskett and Elmcrest. I don't know what the city feels that they got out of that $50,000, but CRS didn't even make a transportation plan. They didn't tell the city how they were going to get cars in there, who was going to switch the cars, who was going to be the third-party carrier. And also, they made a site plan that was similar to the one that you can find on the Mountain Home website, which erroneously leads the viewer to think that there is a mainline switch on the west side of that Y going to the main line. And that's not true. There isn't a switch. The nearest switch you get on the main line is about 2 miles to the east. You have to go through that grain factory to get to that switch. But nevertheless, that site plan doesn't reflect current conditions.
Carl, my timer person here forgot to hit the start button. Is there all this stuff that you can just email Tiffany and I get this to the council?
Well, yeah, I can do it. Yeah,
I
of course
appreciate
I
it.
can. But
So we have a 3-minute time limit. We have other people that want to speak.
okay,
So I'll give you
I
30 more
didn't
seconds.
know I used up 3 minutes yet. I thought I timed this at home.
Oh,
Anyway, I guess the bottom line is you guys put out a SOQ last May, and then I got a call from Keller saying they were going to get hired by the city, and they wanted me to go out and inspect the track for them. And I told Kellers that this was a bunch of baloney, because I said, didn't you see that CRS inspection that was done 5 years previous? And James Bledsoe told me, no, I haven't seen it. And I told him I was going to object to them getting a job here with the city again as far as the railroad went. And I went out and walked the tracks between.
all right, Carl. Get us all your information. I'll get whatever you have there to the council.
Okay.
All right.
I don't want to see you guys hiring any more consultants for that railroad out there. You don't need it.
Okay.
You need somebody to go out there and spray the weeds. Thank you.
All right, next. Come on down, John.
It's on the job or no? It's on your subject.
City Council members and Mayor Sykes. My name is John Hochstrasser, and I just want to put my 2 bids in on that LID, opening up the second phase of it. I have 2 houses. One, we have the fiber optics from the city, and it is awesome, and it's always up, and it's fast, and it's great. I have Zio down here, and it is the worst. And I won't do Century Tel, and so I'm just throwing my hat in. Please consider opening up the LID2 for little guys that can't afford $3,300. through 600 or whatever, cash up front. So, that's it. I'll give the rest of my time to that gentleman that just left.
Thanks, John.
Yeah, just think about it, guys.
All right. Anybody else? All right. Here, man.
Hello. Mayor, council members, I just wanted to say thank you. My name is Brian Hernandez. I'm running for Elmore County Commissioner. I want to say thank you to everyone who came out last night for the chamber meet the candidates. It really meant a lot that you guys came out. And if anybody has questions, I have a website. They can go to the website, contact me. I'm open to answer any questions anybody in the community has. Thank you. That's all.
Thanks, man. All right. We're going to run down to presentations. Idaho Power Community presentation with Steve Jenkins from Idaho Power. Steve, the floor is yours.
All right, thank you very much.
You have longer than 3 minutes.
4. Let's see if I can, see if I can get through this quickly nonetheless. I know you all have a long agenda. I want to be respectful of your time, certainly. But Mayor, City Council, thank you all for having me this evening. My name is Stephen Jenkins. I'm an Economic and Community Development Advisor with Idaho Power. I previously worked at the City of Caldwell for almost 7 years as Economic Development Director there. And just appreciate all the work that you all put in to support your community, understand how cities work on a pretty deep level, and recognize that what you do each day is challenging, and especially as it pertains to growth. So some of the things I'll talk about today are just broadly how we serve your community, and then things that we have in anticipation of future growth that we see in this area. So I'm excited to share a little bit more about Idaho Power's perspective and the partnership we have with the City of Mount Home. Okay, so we've been around for a long time. Idaho Power has since 1916. The state of Idaho was incorporated July 3rd, 1890, so Idaho Power wasn't far behind that. What you all see in that first image there is Swamp Falls Dam. I spent a lot of time there, had a really awesome tour in that facility. But a lot of history tied to hydroelectric power and things that Idaho Power's been working on for a long time to make sure that we can support the growth that we're seeing today. A lot of forethought went into the planning, and a lot of effort went into what we have today as far as our grid is concerned. So I'm appreciative of the efforts of our long-standing leadership that's been in place. Snake River is really the central point of who we serve. We serve 1.3 million people along that Snake River between Oregon and Idaho. 24,000 square mile service area there. And I mentioned the hydroelectric facilities. I have 17 of them. One of the reasons why our power is so inexpensive is because of those hydroelectric facilities. I had a call this morning, though, about water in our area and the shortage that we're seeing in our area, in our state this year. So it's going to be quite challenging when water is the fuel for these facilities. But nonetheless, and you guys will see the diverse mix of resources that we have to offset our hydroelectric facilities. But these facilities certainly help support our ongoing growth and also just keep things affordable. It's dispatchable. It's certainly reliable. So they're definitely the pride jewel of Idaho Power's energy infrastructure. So serving customers, we have about 3,800 megawatts in our system today. That's going to grow pretty dramatically over the next few years. We have what we call integrated resource plans, the IRP. We update it every 2 years, and then it plans for basically a 20-year horizon. So from the city's point of view, it's more like a comprehensive plan for Idaho Power. But essentially what we do is we forecast what we anticipate for growth. We have modeling that goes into it's called the Aurora modeling system. And we look at different ways that we can support growth through transmission, substations, distribution, et cetera. So it's just a snapshot of how we provide power to businesses, to homes, of course, hydroelectric dams, natural gas, energy storage, purchase power, and coal. By the way, Idaho Power is a net importer, so we purchase a lot of power, purchase and sell back and forth. So there's a lot of activity going on, and we have a control room at Idaho Power, which I've been fortunate enough to see. And it's a real-time business. I mean, power travels at 189,000 miles per second. It's an immediate thing. These lights that are on right now are being generated right now. So it's pretty amazing. But it goes to transmission substations, transmission lines, distribution, all the way to the farms, for their pumps, businesses, homes, etc. So I talked about our energy mix a little bit. Hydropower is right now our largest portion of our energy mix at 36.9%. That varies each year, but I think we're going to be close to that mark this year. We're fortunate to have a pretty wet April, So that helped a ton as far as water supply is concerned. Wind and solar, that's been picking up as well, and you can see it in comparison to the national average there. Wind and solar are great resources, but they're intermittent, meaning they're not always dependable. So it just depends on, if you have days that are cloudy, things like that, non-windy days, that's really impacts that. Coal has been reduced. That's carbon emitting resource. So we have an initiative here to be 100% clean by 2045. So we've been reducing that over the years. We picked up in natural gas over the years quite a bit. Bennett Mountain nearby has certainly helped with that. Danskin is another one. We have a future project down the road that we're working on that's natural gas fired facility. So we'll have more of that on the way. Okay, so how we give back to our communities. We've given about $1.5 million back in 2025. I'll talk a little more specifically about how we support Mountain Home in Elmore County, but overall we support a variety of events, from food drives to backpack giveaways to different special events that go on. We're part of basically every chamber. I'm a member here at Mountain Homes Chamber, so we try to get out and support the community as much as we can and be a part of it because we live here as well. I actually moved here from the state of Missouri, but I have 4 boys and they're all born here, so hopefully that gives me a couple points as far as locals are concerned. But we're part of the community. We care very deeply about the communities that we serve and we're part of, so we're excited to give back in tangible ways. So you guys can see here just some areas that we've been a part of sponsorship wise. I'm part of the Military Affairs Committee here in Mountain Home. I'm super excited to be part of that. We've donated to a few of their events. Shop with a Cop, Mountain Home Air Force Base Appreciation Day, Mountain Home Rural Fire, Air Show, Mountain Home Senior Center, Break Up Mountain Home, and of course Glenn's Ferries up there as it relates to Elmore County. And then we gave away a truck with Elmore County as well recently. But we just try to do as much as we can to support Mountain Home and the corresponding communities because, again, we're part of it. We're in the area, and we want to make sure that we support it any way we can. This next slide is an image of some of those events that we sponsored. This is Break Up Mountain Home on the top left. That's the truck that I referenced that we gave away. In the middle there, the Senior Center donations there at the bottom left. We're part of the Mountain Home Air Force Base events as well, so you all can see a variety of those events play out in real time there. Okay, planning for what's next. So Mountain Home has experienced some growth, and I think you guys will see some growth down the road. So I've looked up some census numbers related to Mountain Home. And you guys are roughly 17,331 as far as population is concerned, growing at an annual growth rate of 1.23%. Just in contrast, in Caldwell, I was there, it grew from 2020 to 2024, 21.5%, which is roughly about 5% a year. So I think you guys are at a pretty healthy growth rate, although I think locally, empirically, it doesn't necessarily always feel that way. But change is a challenge, and we're here to help you guys navigate that as well. You guys are a relatively young community at 31.7. That's an awesome thing as it relates to future workforce and employment opportunities for businesses looking to migrate to this area. So as far as meeting electricity demand, we have a Bennett Mountain expansion. That's been public news. It's a 167 megawatt expansion. That's enough to serve about 60,000 homes at its peak. It consists of 9 new natural gas units. We're excited to kick that one off. That one will be starting soon, but that's an awesome resource for our system and our grid, and just a tangible way that, again, we're partnering with the community to help support what you all see as future growth plans and part of your comprehensive plan and all those other areas as well. This slide represents new business in Mountain Home, and by new business, we look at it from residential, commercial, and irrigation perspective. So as new customers come online, that's where it reflects. The first image there is quarter one. It shows basically from January, February, March, how many requests we had for new business starts. Again, residential, commercial, irrigation. You guys leveled out at roughly 67 in 2026, but you guys can see that in COVID in 2020, it rose up to 79 and got to 109 in 2021 for that first quarter. The second image there is another perspective of that residential, commercial, irrigation growth, but it consists of growth from 2002 to 2025, and it shows the peak there at 509 requests, which was the record in 2021. Again, we're at a much healthier place now with 310, but the average has been historically about 287. So you guys can see that grow a little bit over the years, and precipitously, it's definitely changed over time. So we're here to obviously navigate that. And I mentioned power is a real-time business, so we have to be able to serve that peak load at any given time, any given day. Affordability is huge for Idaho Power. We really focus on three main attributes of our system. It's affordability, reliability, and really just being consistent, dependable. We average about one outage per customer per year. So that's really, really strong. Idaho Power's been working diligently to make sure we maintain that benchmark. But we're about 20 to 30% below the national average, depending on the rate class for power. And that certainly helps as it relates to attracting businesses and different groups to look at Idaho as a prospective opportunity to locate here. So here, how Idaho compares. This is obviously a map of the United States. It shows the kilowatt hour cost per state. In Idaho, you want to be in the teal colored version of what this map looks like. So we're in that category there. Idaho, Nevada, Washington, Louisiana, we're the lowest in terms of kilowatt hour. And Idaho is showcasing itself as second lowest per kilowatt hour in the nation right now. So I'm really proud of that, and we want to maintain that. And I mentioned those hydro facilities really being key in that objective. All right. I promised I would go through this quickly. So this is my last slide. I show this because University of Indiana certainly surprised me, that's for sure, in terms of college football and winning the national championship. But I'm a Georgia football fan, and I thought Georgia had it all along. But nonetheless, this guy Fernando Mendoza came out of nowhere. Really, they nailed it. But the key is, what are they going to do this next year? Are they going to match that? They lost a lot of key talent, key players. Idaho Power, I feel like we really nailed it. Just to compare it to electricity, I didn't want to get too far off course here, but what we've done is we've nailed it. We've done very, very well with our hydro facilities, our forward thinking, our initiatives that we put out there. But really, the plan is how we're going to get to clean energy by 2045. It's going to take community partnerships. It's going to take all of us to lift up the system and make sure that we're ready for what's ahead in terms of Idaho and the plans that are here for growth and what we anticipate seeing. So we're looking forward to that and working with the city of Mountain Home closely. We actually have a couple of tours that we have slated tomorrow with the city we're excited about, but we just look at that partnership as being viable and being essential to our growth and our plans for the future as well. And with that, I'll pause for any questions you may have.
I got a couple. Micro nuclear, Idaho Power not even looking into that, or are they? Because I know that there was some rumblings. Maybe we could be the area where they build them, and then they go back down to INL to get charged up. They're the size of a cement truck. They can power the size of the city of Mount Home for 50 years. Is that something that you guys that would help curb the cost? I know they're $100 million a piece, but I'm sure you make that in a month, so you guys are good to go. You know what I mean? So are you guys still looking into that, or is just the state of Idaho looking into that currently?
Yeah, Mayor, thank you so much for that question. Small modular nuclear reactors, that's a big deal in the power landscape nationally. The biggest issue is cost right now, navigating that storm and just being able to do it affordably. Idaho Power is really focused on transmission right now, so we have 3 major projects that are on the horizon for the company as a whole. We have one that is Boardman to Hemingway. It takes hydroelectricity from parts of the Pacific Northwest, brings it this way. It's like a highway for energy, and it travels at very fast speeds, voltage-wise. Then we have SWIP to the desert Southwest. We're able to take energy from very sunny states like Nevada and Arizona, states like that, where we can pull power when it's 50 degrees down there and maybe 20 degrees up here, and power is needed most. And then we're trying to get energy or wind energy from Wyoming. So we have a Gateway West project. So small modular nuclear reactor is certainly on the radar for us. I think that's a technology that's going to grow and continue to expand. We are looking into it, but tangibly speaking, we haven't pulled the trigger on many projects yet as we're still trying to fill through affordability.
Well, I know you guys are working with the Air Force Base for their geothermal electrical too, but that'd be a great spot out there for them because they've got guard gates and can't get on there. So then my last one, the Milner Mile. I think Tiff and I, or maybe it was Brendan, I got kind of a dissertation of water, right? And so some years when there's a low water usage, that whole river dries up. And I saw that you had a power plant on that slide. So is that going to affect the rates, or are it going to affect you guys as a whole? And since, thank God for April, but as a general, I think if I'm not mistaken, like our irrigation's going to get shut off here by like June or something. So is that going to hit you guys pretty hard?
Yeah, Mayor, great question again. As I referenced, I was on a call this morning. It's top of mind for our company working through that. We have a pretty diverse mix of base load and energy. We've invested quite heavily in battery storage. It's a 4-hour battery life. So wind and solar are attributing to that pretty dramatically. So we're trying to gear up for that right now in months that don't have such high peak demand. We're able to turn off our turbines and not fire up those facilities and use other power resources to conserve that water that we desperately need to make sure we maintain that affordability on our system. But that's a great question, and we continue to monitor it daily. There's not a ton obviously Mother Nature is going to run its course, but we certainly have other methods that certainly support the system in a way that we've invested in over the years.
Okay. And of course, I'm going to ask one more question. I'm going to shut up. I saw that you donated a truck. We would love to have one of your guys' lift trucks for our street department. If you ever want to donate one, we're in your city. Don't give nobody else but Mount Home.
Awesome, man. That's why I'm here. I appreciate the feedback. I will take it back. I have no pride. I was in economic development before, so I'm used to asking people to locate to my community. So I am certainly not ashamed to ask that question. That's for sure. So thank you for bringing that up.
Council, got anything for Steve? All right, my friend. I appreciate you, man.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Thank you for the partnership.
Yeah.
It would have been better if we followed the Seahawks.
We're going to run down the presentation by Kaisa and Crossley from the nonprofit Just Serve. Oh, they're gone. They're on teams, right? Or they're. Oh, there you go. Did I butcher your name? I'm sorry.
It's happened before. It's Kaisa.
Kaisa.
It's okay. So, do you have one of these?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
So I'll just give you the nod when I want you to go to the next slide. Or something. Okay. Okay, thank you for this opportunity. I represent the nonprofit organization called Just Serve, and we are a nonprofit that promotes community service.
We have to work through all our technical troubleshooting here.
We're showing and sharing.
What's the proper term for it? Okay, let me see if I can make you be a presenter.
Sorry,
There we go.
Okay,
Sorry.
that's okay. So, you can go to the next one. So, we basically promote community service in the form of a website, a free website, and a free app that invites organizations to post their volunteer needs and invites volunteers to go to the website and search for opportunities to get involved in the community by their interests, by their time availability, by certain, whatever fits their needs. Because a lot of people want to get involved. A lot of people want to volunteer, but maybe they only have like an hour on a Wednesday, or maybe they only are interested in working with the police department or volunteering for sewing or, with children. Everybody has diverse needs. So it's a really great common ground for people to go and find what they're interested in, get involved. There's also a remote, okay. There's a remote option where you can click volunteer remotely, and people that are just staying at home and can't even go anywhere else, they can look at nationwide or worldwide service projects, things that they can make and send to other organizations. And it's a great opportunity for organizations that have big events coming up or certain, needs that they have anywhere they're looking for volunteers to get their stuff out to the public. It's really great just as a common platform. And Just Serve also provides each area with a Just Serve specialist, that's my role, to just work with the organizations and help them whatever they need to get their word out, to help them format a project on the website if they need help with that. So even organizations that may not be tech savvy to get their word out, we'll help them do that. So you can go to the next one. Okay. Just serve, like I said, it brings people together because it gets people out in the community. People come together for good causes, and it really just makes a nicer community. Helps people, individuals, families, groups, youth. It increases understanding and desires for people to promote good things in the community. It is free. It's for all ages, persuasions, societies, faiths, and it is fully funded by the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints as a humanitarian gift to communities and to the nation and to the world. The nationwide Just Serve is their board, their council members consist of a variety of national organizations. You can see there's American Red Cross, the Rotary International, Catholic Relief Services, Doblin Group, America's Service Commission, the mayor of Tacoma, Washington, the Humanitarian Division Director of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, and the President and CEO of the World Food Program. Our global reach is 17 countries and with over 1 million volunteers. Nationwide, I'm sorry, I'm going way too fast.
I was wondering if that. Sorry.
Sorry, because I'm even here. Okay, sorry. I'll let you catch up. Okay, so our global reach is 17 countries, 1 million volunteers. Okay, next. Sorry. I'll look at you and this. Okay. And nationwide, over 16,000 organizations have been enjoying the benefits of Just Serve for over 12 years. It was established 12 years ago. So, go ahead. And I'm here to present to you what's called the Just Serve City Program. We've been present in Mountain Home for a couple of years, and we've had a wonderful, wonderful response here. There are so many amazing organizations that are doing a lot of great things. These are some of the local organizations that we have worked with. The Arts Council, Hope City, the Public Library, the Watering Hole, You Are More, Youth Rising is a new one that's coming up in the corner, the food banks, the Mountain Home Spouses Club, Freedom for Fighters, Meals on Wheels, and this is only a portion of the organizations that we have contact with and that we have worked with. Okay, next. So what is a Just Serve City? A Just Serve City is where the city makes a proclamation of volunteerism to the city, and it can be, oh, can you bring me that little blue, just bring it up. So you make a proclamation that Mountain Home has dedicated the city to be promoting volunteerism and promoting community service, and it can be any type of proclamation that you want. I brought a sample because I forgot to send one to Tiffany, but here's a sample of what one would look like, and so you can look at that. And it basically just says, you know, we like community service. We want people to be involved, and that we as a city are encouraging our citizens to get out and help, get out and get involved, and help these organizations. And why would a city become a Just Serve City? Well, it really increases the number of people that get involved. Just because of simple awareness. They become more aware of all the cool things that are going on, ways that they can get involved, and they see other people getting involved, and they're like, oh, hey, I could do that. I wanna be involved. And it just really has lifted a lot of communities. And specifically the youth, like, because it's a digital platform, and we also have social media channels where we try and promote the different service projects that are happening. Like, the Just Serve cities have seen like huge increase in youth involvement in the community and in the service. And as we all know, that is so critical for youth today, to just start to feel like they're a part of something bigger, they have gifts to give, and pretty soon they're going to be in these places. They're going to be the adults in the cities, you know, to start to think about that. Okay, next. And then this is a little video about one of the, do you have audio on that? Mm-hmm. Oh, the room. So this is a little video of some of the mayors that have used Just Serve and have become Just Serve cities. There we go. You want to start it over?
Yeah, that's kind of our struggle with this, unfortunately.
Okay. Should we skip it?
You might.
We can watch
There
it.
might not
This
be
is
video.
the Mayor Randall Lane, who's the mayor pro tem, and he. Anyway, they're both just explaining their positive involvement with becoming a Just Serve city. And if you want, the council could watch that video at another time. It's pretty informative, and they share some of the benefits that they've seen as they become a Just Serve city. Okay, so we can go to the next one. So the steps to become a Just Serve city is first to create a proclamation of volunteerism, and that's like the example that I handed out. Then you submit your proclamation to the nonprofit, and they'll look it over. And it's also, we can show that we have quite a few cities that are organizations that have been participating, and then they'll send the acceptance or the approval either to someone in the council that submits it, or if you'd like me to submit it, it will come to me, and then I'll bring it back to the council. So leave it up. Okay. Okay. Nationwide, the Just Serve has really been appearing in lots of cities. So it's Just Serve held a solution session at the National League of Cities in Atlanta, Georgia, introducing the Just Serve City program. Okay, next. And since then, there are over 400 cities nationwide that are Just Serve cities. Oh, next, yeah. Okay, and next. The city of Los Angeles, this is his testimonial from the police department. He says, "We are one of those organizations that people think of just law enforcement, but that's really never been our game. We're actually about bettering the community." I'm sure you can attest to that. One of the things we focus on is the coordination of community resources to better the community, and Just Serve has definitely been an integral part of that relationship. I appreciate the service they provide, and I'm looking forward to continuing to work with Just Serve in the future. In Idaho, we have actually had an overwhelming response. Idaho is the first state to become a Just Serve state because we had the most cities in one state. So on January 29th of this year, Idaho became the first Just Serve state with 22 Just Serve cities, which the number has now gone up to 26 since then, which is the highest in the U.S. Governor Brad Little, the Senate President Pro Tem Kelly Anthon, and the Speaker of the House Mike Moyle accepted this honor on behalf of every volunteer, nonprofit, and community leader who makes Idaho great. So these are some of the cities in Idaho that have become Just Serve cities: Pocatello, Idaho Falls, Rexburg, Blackfoot, Yukon, Parma, Middleton, Shelley, American Falls, Buell, Rigby, Iona, Harrison, Rockland, Ammon, Eagan, and Chubbuck. And then the four up there, the yellow, are also Just Serve cities, but they have so many organizations participating that the nonprofit has issued them an extra certificate called a Global Just Serve City Award. And that's for cities that have just huge amounts of organizations and huge amounts of volunteers and happening. And so that's Meridian, Boise, Caldwell, and Napa. At the Association of Idaho Cities, every Idaho city was invited to become a Just Serve city, thanks to the executive director, Kelly Packer. She said, "We can serve our neighbors, and we can do even small acts that grow into really big foundational changes for our community, our state, and our country as a whole." Okay, so that's my invitation to the council is to consider if we would like to become a Just Serve city. I really feel like it would be a wonderful thing for our community. We already have so much going on, so many wonderful organizations that like to serve, that are doing good things, and we have a lot of people that are wanting to serve, that are willing to serve. And this just provides kind of a centralized location where all of those needs can be met. And then lastly, I wanted to talk about America 250. This is our America's 250th birthday, and I just see this wonderful potential for Mountain Home, who is a military town, and we're an Air Force town, to really celebrate America 250. So there is a national website called America250.org, and that's where I got this screenshot from. And they're encouraging, this is the national, the federal government encouraging us to all celebrate. And these are the 3 ways that they suggest. Having a block party, America's Block Party, you can click on that link and it has ideas. And basically, they're encouraging as many cities as possible to take July 3rd and 4th and celebrate those in a major way to show that it's America 250. And then there's other one, America Gives, encouraging more people to go out and serve for our nation's birthday, which is awesome. And especially for youth and children to realize that they have been given so much to be born in this country, and even little children can give something back. And that's been the spirit of our country for a long time. And then the last one is Our American Story. That is telling stories of our country, whether it's, they have like tours that are going through on the websites. It shows different events that cities are hosting. Some are bringing in drama productions or like historical things or tours for the kids and different stuff. So it's full of a lot of really great things. The reason I bring it up here is because I feel like we have a really wonderful opportunity to do a block party. On July 4th, I know there has already been a wonderful happening in Carmilla Park during the day, but nothing's happening in the evening before the fireworks. And so if the city was interested in sponsoring a block party for America 250 and doing it right in that window between the daytime stuff and the fireworks, maybe have some type of a program, music, maybe some speakers. When I imagined it in my mind, I thought, well, the mayor could speak, maybe some patriotic individuals from our city, which I'm sure we have many, veterans, whoever felt like would be a wonderful person to speak on just our country and patriotism. Maybe invite the commander, the base commander, and get the military affairs committee involved. Maybe a flyover would be appropriate. I mean, this is big. This is the 250th celebration of our country. And as Just Serve, if the city decides to do something along those lines, we would be happy to post that to help get the word out, because those type of events require a lot of volunteer hours. I know I've been an event director for many things, and it's like eating an elephant. And so the more people that show up, the better things go. And I really feel like we would get a lot of support to put something like that together. So that's an invitation. So those are my 2 invitations. And yeah, if you have any questions. Oh, this is, yeah, sorry, the next slide, last one. This is another part of it, America's 250th birthday. The state of Idaho in the legislature decided that the state of Idaho would celebrate 250 by calling it the Year of Volunteerism. So the state of Idaho has a website called Idaho Kindness, and they're encouraging citizens to do any kindness, any service. Anything 30 minutes counts, and you go to the website and you log in on there. There's a little tally that shows, and we're trying to get to 250,000 acts of service before July 4th, and we're at like 170,000. So it's really been awesome, and Just Serve has been encouraging people to get out and be part of this movement of service and patriotism and all those things.
So Kaisa, I will have that to you tomorrow.
Okay.
No problem. Easy peasy.
Okay.
And then, is this something that like you said, all volunteer organizations can jump on your platform?
Oh, yes.
And that way, if I wanted to know what Mac was doing, I can click on theirs and if they have any volunteers. So that's the nutshell. We've been trying to get, seems like we try to get all service organizations together to do a calendar. But this right here takes the cake. I think if everyone could just go to that site, we could put it on the city site, and that way it incorporates all service organizations. So it's a better bang. Well, it's free, so it's a better bang for your buck.
Right.
So.
The only caveat to the website and the app is we don't allow any religious postings, and we can't promote for our volunteers to handle money. That's just a liability that we don't do. But all the things from all the organizations, we want them all on there, and we are generating traffic. My job is kind of twofold. I'm gathering organizations to post on there, and I'm generating traffic to the website because that's where they all meet, and that's where it's really successful.
So I think Tiff just sent us all your presentation. Did you send the contact information too?
I have
It
that.
is. Yeah. It's in the email threads for contact.
Yeah, I have I just served gift for each of you. It has my contact information in there, and a little flyer that explains about just serving.
It must be a pretty big deal if you get the pro tem and the Moya and the Speaker of the House together on one stage. So that's pretty cool. So we were there.
Service is where we all come together, really.
Right?
Yep.
Council Senator shared them.
Hold it against me.
Council, and like I said, we were there for that presentation that you did, and I asked Mayor Simonson about it, and he said you got to get on there, and we all get so busy. So I appreciate you taking your time coming here and getting us, putting a boot in our ears, getting us going again.
Yeah.
Council, got anything for Kaisa? Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
And then, do you want to consider? I guess you'll just reach out to me if you are thinking of doing a July 4th thing.
Mm-hmm.
Just let me know how we can help you.
See, I love that.
Yeah. So,
I love it. That's perfect. No, I'll probably give you a buzz tomorrow and pick your brain on all that and how to. Obviously, it's a pretty special a day. 250 years is something big. So I think we all want to be a part of something special, especially something like that. So I'm not speaking for the council, but I think we're all. I'm in. So you got me. Thank you.
thank you very much.
All right. Let's see. Presentation by Mindy, Curran, and Heather Allan, Central District Health.
Hi, thank you. I'm Heather Allan. I am on camera now, and Mindy she said she tried to join, but she wasn't able to get into the meeting. She is active on chat, though, so if we have any questions for her, she said to go ahead and feel free to tag her in on that way, or on that through chat. So I wasn't sure how much time I had. I thought that I was told I had 5 minutes, so I was prepared to skip through these slides pretty fast. I won't take up too much of your time, but so I'm here to represent Communities for Youth. We are an Idaho-based Communities for Youth. I'm speaking. I work for Central District Health, and I also am a community lead for Communities for Youth. So if I say we, I'm using that interchangeably. But Communities for Youth is an Idaho-based initiative that's focused on improving youth mental health and well-being through upstream prevention. We are statewide, however, we do have regional initiatives. If you could go to the next slide, please. What we do, so we build capacity in communities, and we do that by making data-driven decisions. And so engaging youth is at the heart of our process. It's a key to the model that we base everything off of. And to do that, we partner with schools, parent groups, hospitals, local law enforcement, business leaders, and more. We'll get into the nuts and bolts of that a little bit if you want to go to the next slide. Thank you. That was perfect. So this is just talking specifically about my role in the CDH partnership. I work primarily through opioid settlement funds. That's what my position is funded through. I'm a youth alcohol and substance use prevention program coordinator for CDH. And in that role, I get to be the community lead for the Communities for Youth Boise initiative. I I focus primarily in my role through CDH as an upstream prevention specialist, and I actually am thrilled to be able to do this work with Communities for Youth because it is focused on that upstream model. Next slide, please. This is just based on what we know about youth mental health in Idaho. We know that depending on which numbers you're looking at, Idaho ranks 50th in the nation for youth mental health. I'm just going to give you guys this little bit of background before we go into our process, but it won't be dark for too long, I promise. We have 1.8 times higher suicide rate than the rest of the nation. And 52.5% of youth are in need of mental health services that go untreated each year. Next slide, please. According to the Idaho Youth Wellbeing Survey, in 2025, teen depression rates ranged from 24 to 67%. This is impactful just because the national percentage is lower. It's actually around 18 to 22%, depending on what numbers you're looking at. So that's pretty significant in our minds. If you'll go to the next slide. Let's go to, actually, we're going to skip through a few. We're going to go to the one that's titled Upstream Prevention. One more. Yep, there we go. So this is what Communities for Youth does. We look at the community conditions in that upstream portion of things versus the individual conditions, which would be downstream, and that would be individual or like the clinical care side. So we want to work on those root causes of things, and instead of waiting for the crisis to occur, we address mental and health well-being, and that takes more than just clinicians or speakers or programs. And we want to focus on really increasing those protective factors and reducing the risk factors at the community level. Next slide, please. This is our process, and this is the same every single year. This is what we do in every community. It's built on the Icelandic model of prevention. So the first thing that we do in this process is we build a community coalition, and you guys already have that. You have the Elmore County Health Coalition, so you're ahead of the game. We center the youth experience, and that's done through partnering with schools primarily. That's where we do those youth well-being surveys. We do that because everything that we do in this program is data-driven, and we have to find out what is happening in your community based on what your youth tell us, and also we do like community listening sessions. We want to know what is actually happening in your community before we recommend anything. Anybody that's worth their weight in salt, would be hard-pressed to put a public health program into a community without actually finding out what your needs are. So once we've got that data from those youth surveys, that happens annually. Once we have the data, the surveys actually happen generally in October. We get the data back to the schools or the school administrators by November, and then we start doing school data walks and community data walks. So we tell you within a month to 6 weeks, generally it's right in that range, exactly what the data says that's happening in your community. And so we take that information, we set goals, take action, and then we just keep the conversation going throughout the year. We make sure that we know what those risk and protective factors the risk factors are, and then we put in, we help to promote the protective factors based on that data. If you could go to the next slide, please. And this is why those surveys are so important. We want to make sure that we communicate clearly to you as a community. Communities for Youth does not know what your community needs. The data will inform that. We use the surveys to inform that, and then it builds a shared understanding across partners, communities, and youth so that we can work better together. We take that understanding and we amplify those youth voices. The data helps us check our work, and we need to know that what we thought was the issue is actually the issue. A lot of times, like, we might have communities say, oh, these kids are vaping too much. Well, it might actually be more than just vaping, and so we want to get to the root cause of what that is. And then we keep that actual experience and the needs of youth at the center of all the conversations that we're having. Next slide, please. The survey data helps us to look at the root causes across all of these domains. The data actually asks questions in all of these areas. So individual, peer, family, school, and community. We're asking questions all the way from PHQ-9 scales type questions for the youth, their self-reported wellness, all the way up through the community. Do you feel safe in your community? Do you have transportation or activities in your community? So we go all the way across the spectrum there in those domains. If you could go to the next slide, let's skip through that one. We do, this is just to show you, we don't need to go into all of the Boise data slides or anything, and I don't even think we have too many in this slide deck. The key reason for us doing this is that we know that once we address these risk and protective factors in youth, it affects their outcomes going forward. So the slide that you're on now, the social isolation, stress, lack of sleep, these are things that have been identified in Boise youth from those surveys that we know are risk factors for Boise students. And so what we do is we take that, like the first one is social isolation. Communities for Youth comes in and says, hey, Boise teens have identified that they're feeling socially isolated. So what can we do as a community to support them? So Boise, in the Boise Initiative, this is actually how the city of Boise is helping. They partnered with Valley Regional Transit to provide free bus rides for youth for the summer. And so that's just one way that the community came in and they're like, okay, how can we help kids feel more socially connected if they're feeling socially isolated? That's one of the things.
Heather?
So, yes.
I got a quick question. So I know you guys went to another slide. I was checking out slide 17. It said that the depression rate, moderate to severe depression rate, has dropped from 38% in 2022 to 2025. What was the reason behind that? Do you know by chance? It was on 17?
You're talking about, yes. So it's good news, key trends in Boise teens over time. Is that where you're at?
Oh, that's in Boise? Okay.
That was in Boise, yes. So we started doing the youth well-being surveys in Boise in 2022. And over that period of time, we've been focused very strongly on the social connection piece. And that's, I can't say that the social connection is the key that's made that difference, but since we've been doing this work and surveying with youth and addressing these risk and protective factors, we've seen those depressive symptoms decrease.
Copy that. Thank you.
You're welcome. And so we don't, I won't go any further in through the slides, but what I will tell you is the reason that I'm here tonight is because Central District Health, we're applying for a grant through the OJJDP, so Office of Juvenile Justice Department Prevention. I can't remember all of it, but OJJDP. And so we're applying for a grant. It's upwards of $750,000 a year for 3 years. My ask of you, Mayor, and the City Council is that you would just write a letter of support indicating that you would be willing to support our grant application. The way that this will affect you, I worked on the budget for this grant application today, and it looks like we'd be able to put around $400,000 back into your community to support community subgrants, school subgrants. That would we have to be very specific in what we say we're going to do with this money. So those community subgrants would support things like supporting funding for bigger youth spaces, third spaces where they, activity centers in Glennsbury, or Youth Rising, a bigger location for that. We need to be specific about how we can support intervention and treatment programs. So that might look like funding extra positions or putting money towards spaces for that, or a completely new position. I don't know what that would look like, but those things are all determined by what that data says. I just know I'm setting money aside in the budget specifically for that. So school community subgrant or community subgrants for the implementation is around $200,000. school, both of them are. So really what I'm just looking for is no financial, it doesn't cost you guys anything. It's more just, hey, we support this effort and we want to prioritize the health of our kids in the community. I think that you have a letter that's already been drafted. You guys can change it as needed to make it feel authentic to you. That's my pitch. That's why I'm here, hoping that we can bring this into your community, as I've seen it be very, very beneficial all the way around.
Absolutely. Sorry about that.
I think you should do
I'm
that.
not. Slide.
Is your computer audio on?
But mine's not. I'm not on the Teams or anything. I'm just following it through your packet. But something's okay. We're good now. Heather, yeah, I'll get you. I think. Correct me if I'm wrong. You sent that letter over a couple days ago, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Oh, it's on consent. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I have no problem on my end of giving you a support letter, and I think you're also Chief Larsen. Are giving a support letter as well?
Yeah. Yeah. With your permission, I will.
Yeah. So, council, it's up to you guys. You want to do a support letter for this?
It's an action item.
Oh, it's an action. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, perfect. Any questions for Heather?
Yes, Mr. Mayor.
Councilman Sanders.
Heather, when you're talking about getting information from the youth, I used to work in the children's mental health program where our mantra was nothing about them without them. And I know we have a youth advisory committee here in the city of Mountain Home. Would that be a group you'd be willing to partner with in the process?
Yes, so actually what we really love to do is partner with youth. In Boise, for instance, we have a teen action team. Central District Health is funding 20 internship experiences, opportunities this summer. So each team will work approximately 100 hours. Those are paid internships, and it's all about just centering that youth voice and having them be a part of city council meetings and department meetings, things, not just meetings, but actually going and giving their feedback, and also looking at the different initiatives that are happening throughout the city and just being a voice in that. So absolutely, they're a key part of everything that we do. When we do those school and community data walks, reflecting back what the youth have told us through those school surveys, we actually do school data walks and student data walks. So we want to make sure that they understand, like, hey, this is what we hear you telling us. Did we get this right? And then also, give us your ideas. What can we do to help you?
Thank you.
Thank you for the question.
Great, council. All right, any other questions for Heather? Heather, thank you for your time and presentation. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. Do you have anything other? I'm sorry. Do you have anything else for the council?
I don't. I appreciate you guys having me here. Thank you so much.
All right. You have a fantastic rest of your evening. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. All right, council. We're gonna run down to conflict of declaration. As any council member receives information pertaining to otherwise any contact with any person regarding any items of the city council agenda. If so, please set forth the nature of contact. Here, Councilman Brennan.
Question for legal. For new business item number 6, I know we'll be discussing the resolution, but for transparency, I do want the board and the public to know that I did have a family member that applied for the DIFAC, which is an unpaid position, volunteer position. So just wanted to bring that to Paul.
Okay. It does not constitute a conflict of interest because it's unpaid, and it serves as an advisory capacity. The question that you need to ask yourself is whether there's sufficient bias that you would want to recuse yourself from that vote.
But since it's for the resolution or reinstatement, it's not an actual vote on his application. Correct.
So you're fine today.
Yep.
But
Just want to bring that for awareness for this board and for this body and then the public for transparency. So that's all I have, Mayor.
Okay. Hearing none, we're going to run down the consent agenda. Council, is there anything on the consent agenda that you want to have more clarification on? Councilwoman Morkla?
I want more clarification on 6.
So, pull it.
No, just clarification. It's just a one-pager. If you can like, just explain exactly what color is. Just let us know.
Go ahead, Ted.
The task order in the packet is for general engineering. So it's their general engineering services for, I do believe, plan reviews, water, wastewater, things of that nature.
So Mayor.
Councilwoman.
So the amendment says they increase the total combined budget limit for these task orders by $150,000 from $550,000 to $700,000. Is that what is that the main purpose of this? This is the amendment.
I think it's isn't every 5 years, or is this the term? For every 5 years we up them, or not up them, but re-establish him as our city engineer. I wish Chris was here. Councilman, hang on. Okay, Councilman McCarthy.
Sorry. Councilwoman Workfoot, I actually would like to pull number 6 if we can for discussion, if that's okay. So.
Okay.
Mayor.
Councilwoman Morkla.
And then 10, that last brief that we just had, when I look up her letter of support, I missed this. Did she say that this is the exact letter of support that we will be putting our names to? Or, because it pretty much talks about support for like impacted by opioids and stimulants and substance abuse disorders and behavioral health support. She covered more than just this. Is this what we'll be signing, or is it going to come back to us with a different letter of support?
It is my understanding this is like their draft, but you could articulate it in your own verbiage.
Because she did say that they have to be very specific on how much they're putting into. So she said that their goal is to put in $400,000 back into the community. I didn't know if she meant Mountain Home or Elmore County as a whole. If that is the case, I guess she probably hung up. I probably should have asked this earlier. But I just want to know the specifics that she's going to put in her grant application, if that's going to be reflected on this letter of support.
Good question. Councilman Hart, do you have a better synopsis of on that, maybe?
Mayor, unfortunately I don't in the context of that question. The reason I became aware of this, I sit in on the Elmore County Health Coalition monthly meetings, and this was a topic that was discussed. When they're looking for advocates in terms of their partner municipalities. I don't have the answer to this question for that, however.
Okay. I don't either, Councilman. Councilman Sanders?
I'd like to have a second or two to work with number 5 on the agenda. It's really, really quick. In fact, we might be able to do it by clarification.
Okay.
Because I'm going to drag Paul into it, if I may.
Okay, yeah, go ahead.
Paul, in the agreement, that's number 5 on our consent agenda for Gunfighter Skies 2026. You'll take a look under paragraph 3.2.2.2.2 on page 57 of our packet.
I think the recorder is starting to amplify that again. Sorry, that was too easy. 3.2.2.2?
Yes.
My pencil marks on it.
That particular paragraph says that the ESCO won't be asked to transport, but everything in that paragraph is Mountain Home PD. That same language, it follows up later for ISP and for ESCO.
Yeah.
I think they didn't get that set up to be MHPD in that particular paragraph.
Yeah.
Other than that, the document seems fine.
There.
Councilman
I
Hodges?
apologize, I don't mean to interject and step on Councilman Sanders. Chief Larsen tackled that very thing today. And has a copy that's been fixed through interlineation. So
So do you want
appreciate your
to,
attention.
let him know, Councilman Sanders know?
Yes, sir. I contacted base today, and we changed the ECSO to MHPD.
Perfect, thank you. I'm good with it.
Any further questions, just direct it to me.
Okay, and I did get a chance to look at this. This is for the Kellers one, the task orders. It's a general for water, wastewater, general transportation, development review, professional service. So this is their, like, if we do anything with them during that year, this is the amended agreement. There, so Councilman, it's pulled. I just wanted to clarify that. But yeah, Councilman McCarthy.
I just had a quick clarification for number 9. Maybe Paula can kind of help in this. Sorry to put you on the spot, but page 4 of the document for Soren, they had a paragraph. Sorry, so page 4 of the document, or 71 of our packet. There was a paragraph there that says we have identified the following significant risks and material misstatements as part of our audit planning. I don't want to be raising red flags, but I guess I'm just trying to figure out, because they state management override of controls, improper revenue recognition, so I wasn't sure if that's a piece that.
I would have to ask them. So, is that what you want me to do? Page 4, which number? Management responsibilities?
It's right above the management responsibilities.
Okay. So that whole paragraph you wanted to explain it?
We have identified the following significant risks and material misstatements as part of our audit planning.
I think it goes with the whole statement above it, but so we haven't had an audit. We're just saying if they do find significant, they're going to let us know. But I can ask them that question and have them explain it. You want to do that?
Can we pull that to come back?
They always have that same, I've seen that same paragraph, like in every city. So it's just one of their
pieces.
They just write that. I heard you read it, and I read that 2 years ago. I thought the same thing. It was like,
It sends a little red flag.
a little.
Could get some clarification.
Sure, absolutely.
Thank you.
So we're pulling that one.
Could you pull that, yes, please?
For next council meeting, please.
Do you want both of those explained? Or answer? Perfect. Thank you.
Okay. So currently, council, I just have number 6 pulled into new business. And then number 9 pulled for the next meeting. Correct? Councilman Harjo?
And accept changes to number 5 through number 1.
So with that, council, do I hear a motion? Well, do I hear a motion to approve the consent agenda, pulling 6 to new business, interlineation of number 5 with the changes made, and then pull number 9 until next meeting?
Mayor.
Councilman McCarthy?
I'll make a motion to approve consent agenda, pulling number 6, changing number 5 through interlineation, and pulling number 9 for next city council meeting.
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for the question. Councilman Sanders?
Aye.
Councilman McCarthy?
Aye.
Councilman Warglow?
Aye.
Councilman Harjo?
Aye.
All right. We're going down to old business action item deliberation decision regarding audio video recording and committee meetings. McCarthy, or Councilman McCarthy, you're up.
Okay, so I know we're bringing this back for an actual action item. I would like to share my screen. screen for
I know, I see your screen. It's gonna be something up here, I bet.
sharing on my screen.
You're sharing. Only the rules are the same every time.
Do you have a tile on your upper left in the managed screen that shows your toggle turn on? No, the one that shows your initial, but the one there should be one like a lower names.
It just shows the toggles on.
There you go.
Oh, no. There we go.
Okay, perfect. Thank you for everyone's patience. So I'd like to bring up on this again the video recording of committee meetings. Again, thank you, Councilman Sanders, for bringing up about the Youth City Council. That is by no means the thought of having these committee meetings recorded. So I believe we can have an exception to that. But I bring up our Mountain Home and City Ordinance 1-6-4 for meetings. And I feel that it does very well when it comes to video live streaming or recording meetings. It talks about the City Council of Mountain Home and the P&Z. I believe Councilman Harjo, you had brought this in the past. And so the thought with this, again, is for transparency. If there are other municipalities that are doing it, and we can learn from them and how we can bring more awareness to these committees' meetings. And we've been, quite frankly, paying for teams, which gives us plenty of options. I don't see why we should not look into this or implement it. I do like subsection 5 of paragraph G, where if the video recording is not able to be made available online, the clerk shall promptly post a notice in the same manner as a notice of a public meeting, and shall post a notice at all locations where the meeting recording links are available. The notice must explain the reason the meeting was not recorded and describes the steps taken to remedy the failure prior to the next meeting. And so essentially when I look at this city ordinance, I say, why not add the advisory committees to this under the city council or the planning and zoning commission? So again, I would open it up to my fellow council members to see their thoughts on this. So,
Councilman Harjo. When we drafted this initially, there was a primary concern that advisory committees had a budget behind them that you could assign a staff member to that was on the payroll that would commit to excuse me, that staff or leadership could commit to recording those and like running the devices. And I think when we did this, it was during our own system, so there was a roadblock there in terms of headcount, staff, budgeting.
Councilman McCarthy.
Well, thank you, Councilman Harjo, for that information. I guess I would kind of question, or I would ask, do we not already have staff at most of the advisory and a city council liaison that could help with the recording of these meetings to then minimize any concern, I guess, when it comes to staffing or, as you put it, budgeting. But again, I'll open up to my fellow council members.
All right, council, what's your thoughts?
Mayor,
Councilman Workla.
there's always that word that's sometimes overused so much it loses its meaning. Transparency, right? We hear that so much. When we look at the budget, I guess, in 2 months, I guess we can see if this is going to potentially affect, I mean, we can put that question out there, affect the cost, which is, I guess, it sounds like is the only concern really, is the manning and the cost towards the efforts to have these committees recorded. I'm all for it as long, we discussed a little bit, as long as it's not the Mountain Home City Youth Council due to the minor, their age should be minors. I went to their meeting, their last meeting, and then it was brought up. And yeah, they said, no, thank you. Yeah, so you have my support on it. Again, if it's a financial, fiscal type issue concern, it's something that we need to look at our budget. Have the department heads address that.
So council, would you feel more comfortable if I kind of worked with the staff really quick and came up with a financial cost? So let's say said advisory meetings meet monthly versus the ones that meet quarterly, and I think one of them is losing their secretary currently, which said secretary got paid by the city to do those minutes. So even though Teams does articulate the verbiage on there, you still need somebody to Teams transcribes them, but you still need somebody to make the minutes. And I think maybe am I off on that? But you need someone to do those minutes. Gosh, right, T?
Yeah, that's correct. We don't even rely on the Microsoft Teams transmission of the minutes. Like we listen to all the audio and type, because transcription of Teams doesn't even remotely get the conversation right, to be honest.
So all I ask is if you're going to make a decision tonight, I'd say give me some time to get you guys some data of the potential cost of something like that. To have somebody there, whether that be, well, if it's, say it's, and I'm not throwing Councilman Sanders on the bus, but hey, if I had Councilman Sanders at the golf advisory or Jake, and they're doing it, and let's say Councilman Sanders doesn't make it, or Jake, is that somebody you want, somebody else that could pop in to subsequently do the team stuff? Because I can tell you this right now, I don't even know that world. I have a tip for that, and I know Scott could probably do it, or you guys probably know enough about it. But is that something that you're more copacetic with, paying somebody to do, or I could give you a finite line item best guess cost estimation? Go ahead, Steve.
Mayor, council, I was going to listen, but Councilman McCarthy, you brought up Chapter 6, but Chapter 2 is advisory committees specifically. And in Chapter 2, there's a section in it, which I think Chapter 2 advisory committees needs amended hardcore. But it actually says that each board shall be not more than 7 members, but at least 5 members, and shall include 1 youth advisory council member on every one of the boards, which doesn't occur today. So then if that's going to be where you follow your ordinance as it writes, then you're not going to live stream any one of them.
Mayor.
Councilman McCarthy?
So Tiffany, with that, you were just saying that it's never been implemented about how we have any youth on these advisory committees, correct?
I will tell you, as when I was in the rec department, there was a youth advisory. There was a youth member of our community. We didn't have a youth advisory committee per se at that time, but we had a youth individual on that committee as Parks and Rec. several of those boards have went on hiatus. You just reestablished golf. You didn't appoint a youth member to that, but we're only one meeting in. But like I said, chapter 2 clearly needs an overhaul. Like it talks about can't meet before 6, where are you gonna meet? You know, some didn't even meet here in the chambers. If you're going to go to this box, the library has to come here. Like, there's a lot that has to be reviewed besides just an actionable item tonight. And as a staff member who runs this system, and I think Brenda, who runs it and operates it and tries to conduct the meeting and keep track of all of our documentation, the live streaming portion is what truly is difficult. It's not capturing the video footage of the meeting and working through it. It's trying to ensure that everything's live and moving. So this has become, in its own, quite frankly, a whole nother job function to what the clerk position does. So yeah, like I think there's a lot of work that has to be done to make it work. I agree. The language in chapter 6 is pretty easy, other than I prefer that we don't maybe be live, it gets uploaded the next day, but it is what it is. I'll work through that. But chapter 2, which is specific to advisory, needs to really be examined and made, and I think needs amended to get to the answers you all want, I think, if that makes sense. And I'll be quiet.
Mayor.
Councilman McCarthy.
Thank you, Tiffany, for bringing those points. I think those are things that we can definitely take care of and work towards. But I guess I don't want to see, I'll say, technicalities or an issue of paying for it when we already have staff. I mean, we had staff at DIFAC, Brenda, Nicole, P&Z, we have city council here, Golf the Kaiser, and that's why my suggestion was we can also have the city council liaisons, go through this training to help. And so again, I agree, there's some work to be done on it, but I just don't want to see this being used as a way that we shouldn't be trying to be transparent when other cities are doing that same thing and providing it. If it's live streaming or if it's uploading the video the next day, absolutely, again, those are discussions, but again, I think this is something very important. If we all believe in transparency and everyone is, I'll have to steal from Councilwoman Workless, it's a word that's used all the time, but why not do it? And I think that's kind of the question I come here is these things can be easily dealt with some work. Let's do it.
Copy that.
Yeah. I believe that, and I think involvement in the community, I agree with that, but I think appointing secretaries to the committees that then do the transcription, and then the committee themselves has some onus and some work in it. They're creating their agendas, they're getting them to the clerk's office to hang, they're transcribing the minutes to get them back to the body. That way there's onus in the work of the committee as well, rather than appearing and then a staff member or you guys volunteering to do it, doing the work for them. I think that gives the committee some ownership in what they're doing too. And we haven't done that in the past, but in the cities I've reached out to that do advisory committees, they, like City of Caldwell, their airport, they have their own secretary, a committee member does it, they're not paid or compensated. So I think that is something to look at too. I think that gives the committee themselves some onus in it.
And I think if those advisory committees appoint a secretary, then that secretary, one, you don't have to pay him, but two, that it saves tax dollars, and then you still have your transparency, you still have your live video, and then you have your meeting minutes all done by the secretary. So with this, what's the direction? Councilman McCarthy, what kind of direction you want us to go?
Well, I first want to kind of also allow, not to put him on the spot, Councilman Sanders, do you have any thoughts on this before? We're asking direction, but.
Councilman Sanders, you got anything?
There are a lot of different points to consider. One of the things I look at is there a substantial advantage to live streaming video against the challenge we have right now of trying to get conflicting ordinances of the city to coincide, and still, because I do believe that the youth need to be involved in these things. If we're wanting, for example, to grow the golf course, and we're not talking having the youth involved in it, we're fighting against ourselves. I would like to find a way where we can have these accurately recorded, while at the same time not being forced into a box where we can't get people involved to do it. So, from my part of the world, if I'm at the advisory board for golf, I would be happy to coach someone in the secretary's world about how to take the manual notes. Because even as we're discussing the electronic world, if Idaho Power has its one magnificent day of the year where it drops, it'll be on my committee. It'll happen. And we'll go back to pencil and paper for a time. So I agree with Councilman McCarthy. I agree with you on the principle that when government is working at all of its levels, its activities should be available to the public. How we get there, I don't know we have that answer for this yet.
Mayor.
Councilwoman Wilcox?
Councilman McCarthy, if you have a vision for that, I'd be happy to hear your motion. Sorry, pushing stop.
No, really quick. While he's thinking, so for our code or our, I think it's ordinance, whatever it is, the youth council, they're supposed to be. And you're the liaison. Can you do us a solid and reach out to them and say, would any of the youth council want to be on any of the advisory, like whether that's airport or golf? And if not, then we could probably take that out of the code. But if they are, then I think that is the dilemma. And I agree with Councilman Sanders that we want to get the youth involved in city government and the day-to-day operations of the city if we can. So just my 2 cents.
Yeah.
Councilman.
Paul, is there a way that we can just put in certain committees, like if you're looking for DIFAC, right? If, for example, if that's the one you want to be recorded, can we like pick and choose, or is it all or none?
You can pick and it's completely voluntary to do anything.
Maybe list the top ones that you may want to have recorded. And before you answer that, Mayor,
Councilman.
Paul, can I ask a citizen in the audience a question?
You can do what you wish.
Thanks, Rod. So at the airport, right? At the golf advisory meeting that you filmed, how many hits did you get? Because the city wasn't. I know you looked it up.
At about noon today, it was 637.
So that just shows, right? That was a citizen filming, and there were 637.
Can you try to be specific?
Hey, it's been fun to watch it grow.
I'm just saying there's 637 people that were interested in that meeting, and that would have missed out if it wasn't being filmed, right? Okay, go ahead.
Mayor.
Councilman McCarthy.
I guess for vision, really, thank you, Councilman Worklow and Councilman Sanders and Councilman Harjo for all your input on this. I guess really it just comes down to we only have two bodies that we don't currently do, and well, one of them is in action for a discussion tonight, but the Golf Advisory Committee and the DIFAC. So unless we decide, down the road, this body or a body down the future of adding another committee, I guess the vision that I see is we move forward with the process of getting DIFAC and the Golf Advisory Committee added to the list and being recorded.
Go ahead, T.
Yeah,
Airport, thank you.
So all three, you want all three have youth on there?
No, not youth being recorded. That was the ask. Sorry.
Okay. No, you're good. I'm just trying to get we put down.
Mayor, and just on your youth committee, I think it's a lot to ask a young adult of our community. Like, I think it's really good that they want to get involved in local government. For the individuals that serve on the youth advisory committee, I think that'd be a lot to also ask them to attend another meeting, potentially, and they may, but I think you could probably amend it and solicit to just maybe there's some young student that is an avid golfer or is interested and wants to be part of the process that may not be on the youth advisory. So I think if you can just get a youth member of our community, I think that's valuable. It would have to amend.
Councilman McCarthy?
Has there ever been a youth, I guess I would ask this question, has there ever been a youth that comes to the airport committee?
Oh, yeah.
As,
Probably not, I would assume.
as long as I've been the clerk, no. And I can tell you, Parks and Rec, they did exist. No, but
I don't think it's an issue of who comes, it's an issue of who serves and what they're saying that's being recorded for record. Like, that's the issue, right? If it's a minor that is being filmed and recorded. There's children in here all the time, so I don't think that's the issue, per se. It's if the youth wants to serve, right? Is that what you're addressing?
All right, council, so what's the direction? Where are we going?
Mayor.
Councilman McCarthy.
Sounds like we have a few questions with the youth piece. And I understand the concern. Again, that was not the intention of this. It's the intention is to bring some more attention to our committees for the public to understand what's going on. And so I'd like to go forward with this recording. We're trying to get onto the process.
Mr. Mayor.
Councilman Sanders.
I think we should consider at this point asking you and your staff to prepare an estimate of costs if we were to add DIFAC and the Golf Advisory Board to the recorded meetings.
Okay.
Mayor.
So you're good. And is that like city hall staff doing the minutes? Like once they're done, we transcribe those?
Correct. The same level of service we're currently providing for city council meetings and planning and zoning.
Councilman McCarthy?
I guess I would also ask Ben to help alleviate any concern if there is any interest from our youth that would like to be part of these. And then I guess I'd be ask the council if I can come back with some answers to some of the ordinances and that we could move forward with to help alleviate these concerns so that we can get to the N4 recording.
Tiff, what do you think? Go ahead.
Mayor and Council, what if we don't have city hall staff that can do the minutes? We already are working all day long. I mean, I don't know that we have someone that can take time off just to do minutes.
Right, let me.
Just a question.
Right.
Are you willing, like, to compensate and hire a new staff member to do the board stuff?
What do you think the turnaround time? Best guess, a week, 2 week-ish, just kind of give a best guesstimation between your staff, not your time, your staff time, kind of break it down. What's the average, just like ballpark it? Now, I'm not gonna hold you at your feet to the fire, but what's the like average time that it takes your girls to do all those minutes?
it took Amber almost 32 hours to do the last 7 city council minutes for this pack. And I proofed them after. So there's between and that's between like a phone call, maybe customer service, but she's plugged in solidly listening to minutes to get, right? So, and granted, an advisory committee is not quite as in-depth as your guys's, but DIFAC definitely is.
Right, and you're adding 3.
But the other time too is some of this time is overtime for sitting and operating the system after hours and stuff, and then we're flexing out time. But like we can work through that. I can have everything prepared for the May 12th. To be frank, we audio recorded. I didn't train Jake to put the video cameras on, so like we could load the audio file to YouTube to get 642 views, like Mr. Dudley got.
No, I showed it.
But
It's
he got the picture. Like ours are black screens. You know what I mean? So in the meantime, we'll audio record this way and do that, and be prepared, I guess, for the next city council meeting with information.
So can I ask the council, can we table this until the 12th, get you everything that you requested? Here, Councilman McCarthy?
I'd be open to tabling this and bringing it back for next city council meeting after working with staff.
And then, Councilwoman Worklow, will you ask if there's anybody that would be willing to sit on those, and if not, then it's kind of a moot point.
Mayor,
Councilwoman.
I think I can 100% ask, but again, it's if you have an interest in it, right? So I would think that you go to the golf course, right? And that's where you would do your ask, if anyone. So yes, I can ask if they would want to sit on it, but I think also you'd have better participation if someone has an interest in it. So you want to go out to the golf course.
I'm just asking members of council, have you guys read the advisory committee ordinance? So, like, I would ask that you read it and get me your edits and changes so that on May 12th we can actually pass, because we're gonna have to read it aloud, we're gonna have to publish it before any of it becomes code and official. So the sooner you can get eyes on it, read it, and then we make the necessary corrections, that'd be beneficial.
Mayor.
Councilman McCarthy.
Again, that's part of my working with staff. I guess my point of bringing it up here is their interest from this body of moving forward with some recording, however we figure that out, to help bring the public in 637 views. So I guess I have no problem working with staff and getting some more of these questions and that, but I want to see if this body wants to move forward with this direction and support.
I'll say, the views are because it's golf course. If it was trash, nobody'd be interested. It's golf course.
Let me get you some other. I can get you other numbers.
I was giving you a hard time. Okay.
400 for another.
Well, I guess it's an action item. Yeah, sorry,
Mayor.
Councilman McCarthy.
So, sorry, I would like to hear from my other council members if do they have an interest moving forward with this if I go work with staff and to bring this back?
Council will work on it.
Yes, make the motion.
Mayor.
Don't get your answer after you make the motion.
I'll make a motion to table old business action item number 1, deliberation decision regarding audio or video recording of committee meetings to be brought back for our next city council meeting.
Second.
And motion and second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for question. Councilman Harjo. Aye. Councilman Worklow.
Aye.
Councilman McCarthy. Aye. Councilman Sanders.
Aye.
Run down to action item deliberation discussion old business number 2, deliberation decision regarding railroad extension relocation project, Mountain Home Municipal Airport, and allocate the funds. Council. Councilman Worklow.
So citizens spoke tonight. Can you guys give me a backstory on what he was, talking about in regards to this?
I will do my best about the 20, I don't know what the 2015 was, or the 2020, I think that was,
You mentioned 2011, 2015, 2018, 2020.
So I think the only thing I can really speak on was maybe it was 2019. 2019 is when we got the rail, I think. I think 2020, we used a firm to clean out some of those spurs, if memory serves me correctly. So that's where that one came. and then we ended up sucking up the wrong area of the track. So then we made him come back to figure out how bad the ties were.
Size of the rails.
Yeah, the size of the rails.
Condition of the rails.
Yeah.
Mayor.
Go ahead,
That's with Badger, and that was only from the road crossing to Wolfpack and to the UP connector. That had nothing to do from where, I don't know the name of the road, Sawmill Road, if you will, from that road to the rest of the track. Badger didn't even examine.
Yeah, and that was 4 point. Yeah, and that was so we have 4.25 mile of rail, not the 3 miles of rail, but that was to see if those were even attainable or workable for that spur off that UP line. And Tiff's correct, it was the
Badger's the only one I know. I only remember it because it's an animal. If it's easy to remember.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's where we're at. Yeah.
Yeah, because he said in 2020, CRS came to give an estimate. And the question that he asked is why didn't we use the former estimate that was given prior to 2020? And now it sounds like Keller's coming back to ask him, if I'm hearing right, to help give Keller information for this project. So
there's two different, I would say two different aspects. One is to move the rail away from the airport runway. I don't have a map. The other one was the condition of the track. Is it how bad the ties were, all that good stuff. So one is trying to get so right now the rail line goes right through the 273 right by the airport. We want to move it further along. I would say was that west of our property, keep it going out so we can extend that airport runway 3,000 more feet to make that a total of 8,000 feet runway. Where's Chris when you need him? Going to a baseball game. No, he deserves that. Yeah. What am I missing on that, G?
The note, Mayor Council, the note I have in here regarding CRS was professional services agreement with CRS Engineering to develop a marketing advertisement for proposed rail industrial park for a site selector magazine. So, and I have not read that agreement, but by that summary, I would say that didn't give you a lot of information on quality of rail, but I have not read the actual agreement.
Man.
Councilman?
So there's $36,570 that you're asking for. You said this money's already been set aside, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like it's available within this budget, correct?
Yes.
That was the study for what is it? The facility plant study.
Mr. Mayor,
Councilman Sanders.
just for clarification, we just approved an additional $150,000 from Keller for engineering services. Do we actually need to pay him an additional $36,000?
No. We tabled that for right now. So it's numbers, right?
Full.
Oh yeah, we pulled it.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Councilman Sanders, this is a different task order, so it'd be a completely different project set aside of general engineering. That's like that.
This is their rail division line of Keller, not Keller for the water, wastewater, the transmission lines. This was, so there was, we did that RFQ, we had 5 bids back, or what's the word, RFPs. And then at the end, that we all chose the Keller one. I wish I had all that here with me. But we could have picked, I'm just going to say, what was the other, just give me another rail line company that we used, or that bid on that. Matrix. We could have picked Matrix. We'd be sitting here talking about Matrix.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. Councilman McCarthy.
Yes, I have a question regarding the memo that we got from the last city council meeting. It talks about specifically staff is seeking council direction on the following. Whether council supports proceeding with phase 1 of the project at the time. If so, whether council prefers to reallocate available FY 2026 funds to accommodate this expenditure, or defer funding consideration to FY 2027 budget. So while I understand it sounds like there's money there from what was budgeted on the facility, I just want for clarification, so this was not budgeted during budget season, right? This actual project. And then my second question would be what is the funding source that we have identified for everything that comes back after discovery to move said rail? I guess for a short to keep it short, where are we getting the funds for that?
That's where we use this study. We need this study to go out for all those grants. Let's say you take an appropriations or an OLDC, or right now I just brought it up to the Air Force Base today, seeing if we can utilize some of their funding mechanisms from the base. They're looking into it right now. I think they were telling me Seymour Johnson works with their municipal airport. And don't quote me on Seymour. It was one of those that if something were to touch down or something happened at the base, they use the city's runway as a training. Right now, they can't train on ours because we're 3,000 feet too short without a safety line. And then two, they do it in other municipalities just because if, let's say, something happened to Boise, it's longer flight time. If I can come here, turn and burn, sit down on a mountain home, I'm not burning fuel, I'm not burning, plus the pilots probably get out of the jet, our police officers or whatnot, security forces can get them to Mountain Home quicker than they get to I would assume Gowan. I'm sure Gowan has their probably security forces too. So those are some of the advocates or the other kind of funding mechanisms that we're trying to find.
There.
Councilman?
So essentially grants.
Grants.
Okay.
Unless you got a ton of money you want to give me.
I guess I'll just speak candidly here. I'm not comfortable with moving forward with a project that we necessarily don't have the funds for, but we're relying on grants for several reasons. But again, I think for me, because this was not budgeted for this season, I would rather see this come during budget season to have a more in-depth conversation. Again, I think it's concerning. And again, I hear all the pitch for what could happen if we get it, and what could come and all that. But again, it comes to, well, what happens if we don't get the grants and we spend all this money for that? So again, that's kind of my thoughts. Is I would rather see this come back for the 2027 budget process to have more discussion on it, so that we actually have planned for this.
So, and I hear you, and I'll just say that the quote will be probably higher in the next fiscal season, but I saw you had your hand raised, Paul, sorry.
Mayor and Council, did you want that in the airport budget, or do you want it in the general fund budget?
Mr. Mayor,
Councilman Sanders.
I have a mild amount of angst about blending in government. It's not directly related to the airport. It's more industrial development we're doing in that section. And I don't want to see it in the airport budget. It's going to have to be a standalone project and pay out a general fund that clearly identifies it as industrial infrastructure development. So that there's no confusion about how that money was allocated or how it gets spent.
Mayor.
Councilman Harjo?
I am in full agreement with Sanders. One of the key things as we discussed this one that kind of stands out is the concept of holding off on this and putting it in the 27 budget. The factors that where that money was allocated in the 25-26 budget were denied by the city council for the intent of a facility study. That being said, I think that isn't necessarily always the answer. Right? But the council agreed to the budget. The council also denied the function of what was approved in the budget when that came to be. So setting this out to the 26-27 budget when the council's already denied the original use for that particular study from its intent, I feel like this is kicking that can down farther and farther down the road when our biggest challenge in balancing residential tax dollar, well-paying jobs in our community, we need to start looking to the future of what we, as the deciding body, need to do to work towards getting those elements of tax relief through large commercial and industrial property tax implementation. This is that time where it applies in the term of build it and they will come. We have to be prepared in our steps forward for those potential opportunities where big industry does come knocking. We are getting close. We've got expansion of power right in the same neck of the woods. The acquisition of this rail spur was very intelligent, and it was a great partnership with the Air Force Base and everybody that made that work. Now we should be looking at how do we best make that work for the community that we represent, because these are the jobs. This is the tax relief in terms of that balance. So I'm not comfortable with pushing it off potentially another year when we've acquired with intent the 273 acres. We've acquired with intent 200 additional acres that borders that. The ball is moving in that direction, and this is putting a chalk under the wheel of that motion.
Mr. Mayor.
Councilman Sanders.
Tiffany, the funds that would be used were this to be reallocated are coming from the facilities project that the council moved away from in favor of the railroad. Is that correct?
Yeah. Good. Councilman Sanders, that's correct.
So the intent of the money was to get information to the city, to the council, whether that information was on our current facility status as it was originally budgeted, or whether now we do it as we take some of those funds and use it to pay for this discovery work to give us the baseline of the data we would have to have in order to make any argument in the grant land about being eligible for future funding. I don't want to see the money sit here and wind up being reallocated next year. Previous council, and this council as well, looking toward the future, set aside money to begin doing the work to get that information. Whether the council decides it wants to act on that original facilities plan and reinvigorate that, or act now on the railroad, I don't see the value added in delaying when we've already expressed intent in two different directions. The staff is basically asking us which way we want to go. We told them. I think we owe it to the staff to follow through on this, and actually it's going to wind up save us a few $1,000s, because I think the facilities line was about $5,000 more.
Mayor.
Councilman McCarthy.
Appreciate that perspective about looking towards the future, and we're trying to bring industry and how we need this infrastructure. I guess my concern is the relying on grants, and I use the example of Cell Lagoon number 10, where we have spent hundreds of thousands of dollars and we did not get the grant twice. Correct me if I'm wrong.
We got a plan for that tonight, and I'll send that to you, but you're correct.
And so while I understand that we want to move forward and we need the information, I don't see how it's necessarily a fiscally responsible way to be constantly waiting on grants and hope that we can do this with the chance that nothing might come out of it, and where are we going to go from there? So again, that's my concern of the relying on grants are not a guarantee. How will we justify then using the taxpayer money responsibly if nothing comes out of it because we're waiting on grants year after year after year?
So,
Sorry.
Oh, Councilman Curran. Okay, Councilman
Councilman McCarthy, I understand that perspective. At least I think I do as best I know how. Knowing what we just went through with our near miss with Jenkins Industries, there are people out there when they look to expand that sometimes are willing to make that investment to get a facility in place that they want. They may come out and look at our 400 some acres and say, well, it's not shovel ready at the moment, but what would it take? And we're going to tell them, we don't know. And they'll move on to the next community. We won't even get a chance to engage them in that conversation.
Question on that.
Go ahead.
So you're saying that there's no way they would front the money if they really wanted to be here? Is that what you're saying? They want to front the money for that study to see if they want to be here? We always have to front that every single time? I'm just asking.
Mr. Reynold, Councilman Workla, from my view of the world right now, I'd rather have the answer when someone asks than to ask them if they want to pay to find out what the answer is.
Councilman Harjo?
Amen, Councilman Sanders. I want to make a motion to approve the railroad extension relocation project and allocate funds.
It's been motioned. Do I have a second?
Second.
Been motioned. Any second? And any further discussion?
I'm just going to make a statement before I vote. So it's on record here. All right. I wrote down here 50-50. I'm completely split because, yes, I want industry, but I also been in this position for a couple of years where I've seen exactly what you're talking about, where I don't feel comfortable using the taxpayer money on hopes of a grant. I've heard too many times that it's free money. There's no such thing, right? There's no such thing as free money. So I want to make that statement before I vote. Go ahead.
It's been motioned and seconded. Any further discussion? Councilman McCarthy.
I'll make kind of a statement as well. I understand that you want the information that I just simply have to ask. We had a presentation from Mr. King, and what industry is coming here, and what industry is interested in Mountain Hall. So again, I don't want to necessarily see hopes and dreams used as a way to influence a vote, because again, when we're standing at the end of it and we don't have the money for it, how do we answer for that again? So I'm going to make a statement for that.
I'll do that. All right, it's been motioned and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for the question. Councilman Sanders?
Aye.
Councilman Harjo?
Aye.
Councilman Workla?
Nay.
Councilman McCarthy?
Nay.
Mayor votes aye. Gonna run down to new items removed from the consent agenda. That's number 6. Approved task order amended with Keller Associates, authorized the mayor to sign. That was Councilman McCarthy. Okay, all yours.
Mayor, this is really when I wish Chris was here. I have further questions for him, and so without him being here, I'm going to actually make a motion to table approving the task order amendment with Keller Associates Inc. and authorize the mayor to sign to bring it back forward next city council.
Second.
The motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing now, I'll call for the question. Councilman McCarthy? Aye. Councilman Workla?
Aye.
Councilman Sanders?
Aye.
Councilman Harjo? Aye. Let's run down to new business item number 2, approve finding of facts and conditional use permits to operate drive-up window located at 945 Air Base Road with conditions. Council.
Mayor.
Councilman McCarthy.
Brenda, I have just a couple questions on this one, if you don't mind.
Mayor, Council, good evening.
Real quick, did we get any feedback from ITD on this?
Mr. Mayor, Councilman McCarthy, we did. The applicant did reach out to ITD. They had no issues as the business was existing, and they had no problem from that location. They were sufficient. They were fine with that.
And Brenda, my last question. With it looked like from the lot, is the building actually the new building being moved onto another lot, or is it?
Mr. Mayor?
Go ahead.
Councilman McCarthy, that is correct. They will be moving from one parcel to the adjacent parcel. So they're not moving very far, but yes, they are moving to a new parcel.
And then Brenda, so with that being moved to a new parcel, with the water and wastewater, is that just going to be extended from their current position into the other lot, or how is that all?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, Councilman McCarthy. I do believe that is the intent, that they will move that existing line to the new location. The applicant is in the audience if you wish to ask him a question as well.
Casey, come on down. Mr. Spagnetti, come on down. I will say, good job on the pumps, man. Those things are phenomenal.
Thank you. I've got a great plan of your specials. Great.
Sorry. Thank you both. So yeah, I just wanted to see, it sounded like the water and wastewater okay, so just for clarification, is that going to be continued then from that property, or we talked to other property owners? How is that all being managed?
It will be connected from the existing line that's there. We're going to operate out of the current drive-through building that we're in, build the new building, and then when that one's completed, remove the old one, but the connection will be the same connection.
It's actually the same property.
Okay, perfect. So that's all done. Yeah. Awesome. Well, I feel bad. That was a short question. That's all I have. Thank you.
Councilman Harjo?
I'll make a motion to approve the 5 years of back for conditional use primary driveway window located in 945 Airbase Road condition.
Second.
Been motion and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for question. Councilman Harjo?
Aye.
Councilman Sanders?
Aye.
Councilwoman Workla?
Aye.
Councilman McCarthy?
Aye.
Run down to number 3 of new business, approving findings of fact for conditional use permit for Mountain Home High School Administrative Office located 300 South 11th East Street with conditions. Council, where you at?
Mayor.
Councilman Harjo?
I'll make a motion to approve the conditional use permit to expand Mountain Home High School Administrative Office located at 300 South 11th East Street with conditions.
Second.
It's been motion and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for question. Councilman Sanders?
Aye.
Councilman McCarthy?
Aye.
Councilwoman Workla?
Aye.
Councilman Harjo?
Aye.
Run down to number 4, action on deliberation decision regarding request by staff to correct specific accounting entries related to the fire, police impact fee, revenue accounts. Council. Councilwoman Harjo.
I appreciate staff for bringing this forward. Clearly, we have a lot of irons in the fire at any one particular point. I think this was a great catch. I appreciate staff highlighting and bringing it forward for us to approve. I'll make a motion to allow staff to correct the specific accounting entries related to fire and police impact fee and revenue accounts.
Second.
It's been motion and seconded. Any further discussion?
Mr. Mayor,
Councilman Sanders.
I just want to piggyback on Councilman Harjo's remarks a bit. It is sometimes humbling to have to admit that we're human and that mistakes get made. And being able to stand up and say, this is what happened, this is how we go about fixing it, is what I hope every public employee does in the process of their work. To me, that shows that they are honorable in their intentions and acting with integrity. And with that, I'll back off.
So with that, any further deliberation? Hearing now, I'll call for question. Councilman Sanders?
Aye.
Councilman McCarthy?
Aye.
Councilman Harjo?
Aye.
Harjo? Councilwoman Workla?
Aye.
All right, run down to action number 5, new business, deliberation decision requiring city staff to request for direction for funding the development impact fee. And with that, Brenda, we kind of have a couple of different ways of doing this, council. I'm going to let Brenda take I'll let her take this one first, unless she wants me to throw in some equipment of maybe contingency or next budget season, but I'm going to let her run with this one. So it's all yours, Brenda.
All right, this is one that don't run out the door. Sometimes you get a little nervous in front of you guys, so bear with me as I move through this. So we did, Colin was here a couple months ago from Tish LaBisque and Galena. They did that amendment for us. At that time, it appeared that council was ready to move forward with a new comprehensive capital improvement plan and seeing what that looks like. And so we did get that proposal back from them. There are two options. One of them is an option that we move forward with police, fire, parks, and streets. And he gave us a bid on that of $57,960. But part of it, of the capital improvement plan, we also discussed including water and wastewater as an option for impact fees. Adding water and wastewater does bump that cost up to $91,560. So that scope of work is within the document provided to you. There are options for funding, and that's what we want to discuss today on how you want to move forward with this. If you see this as pertinent and should be dealt with more immediately, then we need to figure out, can we fund that out of this fiscal year's budget and how you want to do that. The second option is to add this as part of the next year's fiscal budget.
So with that, streets, water, wastewater, if you choose to go that direction, you can fund their own, with some of their, they have so let's say streets has 8,000 in their impact fees that they can pay for it. So, but still leaves what was it, 4,600 short or?
Yes, Mr. Mayor. So each police, fire, parks, and streets, there is in the capital improvement plan, there was $8,000 included in those plans for the study. And so we can utilize those funds that were included in the study, which amounts to $8,000 for each department, police, fire, parks, and streets. So for the police, fire, parks, and streets, each one of them was assigned $14,490 to pay for the study. However, if we deduct the $8,000 from each of those departments, that leaves $6,490 for each department to pay. Streets, so police, fire, and parks, that might put a strain on their budgets and send some of them over their line items. Streets can take the brunt of the hit for that out of their budget. Also, water and wastewater. Water would be the entire $16,800. And wastewater would be $16,800, and streets would be the entire $6,490. As I mentioned, police, fire, and parks will either go over or they have those funds allocated for something else in this current fiscal budget.
So I think for the other three, the ask would either we're going to have to put it into next year's budget and wait, or we would ask if you'd let us take it out of contingency. If so, this body so moves to go with getting this study done. So, Councilman Arjo.
I am largely in favor of getting the study done regarding scope option number 1 for police, fire, parks, and streets. Scope option number 2, including water and wastewater impact fees, puts us in an impossible place to consider changing and moving away from availability fee format and adopting water and wastewater impact fee format. There are specific Idaho code legal implications to both. Water and wastewater impact fees are, if adopted, would be much less malleable of a tool to the city in terms of application to our facilities. They come with a time clock, which is also very constraining. I would be in favor of scope option number 1.
There. Councilman McCarthy? Brenda, can I ask on the conversation, particularly about the including water and wastewater, is the direction moving forward looking at adding an additional impact fee on the water and wastewater, or is it reevaluating our hookup fees, if that makes sense?
Mr. Mayor, Councilman, that is probably a question that would be more geared towards legal counsel and or with Paul and or Jeff to determine what that looks like.
Mayor.
Councilman?
The water and wastewater definitely is something I think we should explore. I think there's a lot of legal implications, such as Councilman Barger was brought up. I know there's a few court cases in Idaho. One of them is the famous North Idaho the Building Association, where they were actually litigated on their hookup fees, where the Idaho Supreme Court had come back and discussed of how that breakout is versus so much of your fee is for actually connecting into the system to buy in the availability versus your impact fees are actually going to the expansion with that growth. So with that being said, I think there's a lot more implications with water and wastewater. I know Idaho code does allow for impact fees for wastewater a longer time than the standard list. I'm glad to see that this is coming forward. I know this was brought up in the past with DIFAC as an option in that, such as NAMPA does. But at this time, I would very much would rather cover our base, as we know that the CIP is in much it needs to be corrected due to the growth. As we saw with Idaho Power, they even pointed out that our growth rate is only 1.23%. When we built the CIP, we were at 3%. So it needs to be taken care of pronto. So I would be in more favor of option number one.
Mr. Mayor, Councilman Sanders. Brenda, I have a question you may not be able to answer. But since you're the one here, I apologize in advance. I don't see any change to the project schedule based on options. If the council wanted to move with option 2 and we have wastewater and water, what is your perception that the company will be able to keep its project schedule as posted in their handout?
Mr. Mayor, Councilman Sanders, I couldn't speak for the company doing it. I wouldn't know what their schedule looks like. I assume what they've put in here into the project schedule, they would adhere to as best as they could. Of course, they put the project schedule starting in May, which is very soon. And so, you know, the schedule could shift a bit from whatever decisions are made here.
And an ancillary question again, it's may not be one that you are in a place to answer. Are there any mandatory deadlines for having this done? And if so, how do they fit on the project schedule?
Mr. Mayor, Councilman Sanders. So by project deadlines, we have met state code by doing the amendment. You can do an amendment is required every 5 years. So we just did the amendment. So technically we have 5 years to do this. I know this is something that we want to do quicker than that. We are within our guidelines.
So help me understand this then. This could sit until the next fiscal year. We would not break any legal requirements.
Mr. Mayor, Councilman Sanders, that is correct.
Thank you. Mr. Mayor, I'm really not looking to kick this can down the road if we don't have to, but I wanted to make sure we were not being boxed into a corner where we had to make a move without having the time to give it adequate consideration.
Mr. Mayor, I would like to just add one more thing. Now, this is a cost for currently. If we kick the can, this cost would go.
Okay, Brenda, I don't have my. Oh, sorry, Paula.
Mayor, Councilman, I think Brenda mentioned it. It will overdraw the lines in fire, police, and parks. And it is in their next year budget cycle. It's recognized there, just if that has made the decision.
Mm-hmm.
There, Councilman McCarthy.
Paul will ask for legal on this. When we know that there are issues with the CIP, how does that put us in a legal stance when it comes to impact fees if we decide to push this down the road for next fiscal year based on Idaho code?
That is a problem, especially if your CIP is inaccurate and that you're collecting more money than you should. That is, there isn't too much more you could do that's worse than that. So.
Councilman.
Thank you, Paul, for the clarification. So Idaho Code 678213, just to back up what you're saying. Under subsection 4, it says a government entity discovers an error in its impact fee formula, which comes for the growth rate in all the CFPs. It results in assessment or payment of more than a proportionate share shall, at the time of assessment, on a case-by-case basis, adjust the fee to collect no more than a proportionate share or discontinue the collection of any impact fees until the error is corrected by ordinance. So if this body remembers that we did adopt the amendment, but essentially all we did was push out the construction dates, the start and end dates on those CIP projects. So again, I would be very cautious in having this conversation with Jeff today, and Paul, thank you for clarifying that this CIP needs to get done quickly. So I do have concerns when we have verifiable data to show that the CIP is flawed and needs to be updated based on Idaho code.
Councilman Sanders.
Mr. Mayor, either Paula or Tiffany, if we maxed out the lines on those departments, and they basically contribute down to 0 on that line for those departments, that's going to leave a balance left over that we may have to look at a contingency to use. Do we know what that amount would be?
Mr. Mayor.
Yeah, we figured that today.
Councilman Sanders. So if you are willing to utilize contingency funds, that amount is $19,470. Streets would be able to pay their own.
So I think that's the ask, Councilman Sanders, is if we could just do the $19,740 out of the contingency, so we don't have to take it out of and draw those lines negative, and allow the department heads to still utilize their current professional fees for what it was intended for.
Mr. Mayor,
Councilman Sanders.
I'm going to move that we select option 2 for the development impact fee study, that departments pay down the amounts they are able, and we take the balance due from contingency fund.
It's been a motion. Is there a second? Hearing none, motion dies.
Mayor.
Councilman Arjo.
Make a motion to approve and scope for option 1 for a total cost of $57,960 for police, fire, parks, and streets.
And Councilman, take out a contingency.
Yeah, take out
The remaining balance. Correct, sir?
Correct.
So there's been a motion. Is there a second?
Mayor.
Councilman McCarthy.
Sorry, Brendan, just for clarification, can you kind of run that numbers? So we're trying to take out a contingency so that these departments then are not.
Certainly. Mr. Mayor, Councilman McCarthy. So police, fire, and parks would be the ones who would each utilize, the funds from contingency would utilize for those departments. $6,490 for each of those. So police, $6,490, parks, $6,490, and fire, $6,490. The $6,490 for streets could be paid out of streets, and keeping in mind that that is also utilizing the $8,000 that exists in the impact funds, correct?
That's with the contingency versus, Mayor, sorry,
No,
they
you're good.
had brought up about not zeroing out their professional fees.
Right, it does more than just 0, it takes some of them negative, and one of them is $1,490.
They all have plans to use those currently, right? Ty?
Yes, sir.
To use those professional fees currently for the what they were allocated for in the beginning of that session.
Mayor.
Sorry about it. Councilwoman.
Before this motion potentially dies, I need clarification. So, Councilman McCarthy, are you saying that because our CIP is incorrect, if we approve these numbers now, according to legal, that will create a big issue, right? You said there's no greater issue or something. I don't want to put words in your mouth, but you said something there's no.
If you overcharge, well, right out of the statute, if you knowingly overcharge, knowing your CIP is inaccurate, and then exact that impact fee, then it's a very easy lawsuit against us.
Isn't that what we're doing right now?
I don't know that's why I'm saying that's the law. I don't know how far off our CIP is.
What are we doing right now?
Trying to fix it.
No, I know, but I know we're trying to fix it. But I'm saying, if we don't know the numbers, that tells me that we're already at fault, right?
No, it's not. This isn't an intent. There's no malintent here. It's just whether the math adds up.
So it's a gamble.
Well, yeah, not knowing what that answer is, I would want to know that before I could. Man, I told you what the law is.
Yeah.
Are we actually in breach? I don't know.
Well, we had a study. I'm sorry, Councilman. We had the study done, and that's what we've been utilizing. But we feel that obviously now we need to take a second stab at it, and this is the cost to make sure that we're all in balance. It might come back higher, it might be better, it might be worse. Like this is the cost of the impact fees.
Yeah. If it was accurate when we enacted it, we're fine. But when we come to realize that it isn't, that's when we need to do something. Right then and there.
Yeah. So, Councilman McCarthy, what percentage are we potentially off from being accurate? Because the study was, 3%? And there's what's your money?
Mayor.
Councilman McCarthy.
So before my time on the DIFAC, when it came up, it was over 4%, and then we had an adjustment down to 3% for the CIP currently. So we have a CIP that is at current 3%. Where we've seen, and quite frankly, I was going to bring this up later, the census has come out with an update that we are just above 1% for growth rate.
So, Mayor. So we know our numbers are off. Our percentages are off.
Hang on a second. Go ahead.
I'm not trying to get us in trouble, but you know what I'm saying? If we know that, if we know our...
I don't know that is true. I would have to look at it. I could just tell you what the law is on it. And then I can tell you that when you enacted it in good faith, and then you realize times have changed, it's not, the prudent thing to do is to study it and to see if in fact it's inaccurate. And if it is, then at that point you change it. It doesn't mean you were unlawful before that, if you in good faith pass it at the time. Quit asking me questions.
Just to add, the amendment that we did, pushing out the completion dates for the start dates of projects, adds merit to we are off on the growth rate. Because again, we didn't hit the projected dates based off what that CIP was saying we were going to grow at. And that's why they have in the CIPs those start and completion dates so that it's a checks going forward with, are you actually doing your growth rate to keep your level of service, which then goes into your infrastructure that is part of growth. And so when you don't have those meet dates in that, it comes back to the question of, well, are we collecting enough money to get those projects done? Well, if we're not collecting enough money, impact fees, why aren't we collecting enough impact fees? And it comes back to, again, those projection growth rates.
So we have a motion. Do I have a second?
Mr. Mayor.
No, sorry, Brenda.
So I was just chatting with Ty, and he told me that they would be willing to utilize their funds for their professional services, and could then find what would be overdrawn from a different line item as well, if you so choose to go that
direction. Chief, thank you for that. I guess I would ask I would be curious to hear from Fire and Parks to hear what other professional fees, because as you said that they were looking at using their line for the professional fees, what are they looking to use those fundings for before we start diving into the contingency fund?
Mr. Mayor.
Yes,
I did. So as you know, we are without fire marshal. Those professional fees for fire would be utilized for consultation.
Mr. Mayor, point of order.
Councilman Sanders.
We are knee deep in the discussion of a motion that's without a second.
Right. Oh, sorry, yeah. Okay, there's a motion and a second. Do I have a second? Or there's a motion, do I have a second?
So I just we want to discuss it, but I will break the quorum.
Right, no, I appreciate
I
it.
thought there was a second too.
All right, motion dies.
Mr. Mayor.
Who wants to go first? Councilman Harjo.
So we understand that we need a study. We have internal debate on the accuracy of our percentages. We've made two separate motions to approve moving toward a study. And here we are with no motion on the table. Both options have been approved. What more does the council need to move forward on one of these two options?
Hang on, I'm going to make a statement first. I'm not going to come to you. So, council, this is, if I'm going to vote on this, I will tell you, I love the flexibility of the way the wastewater and water fee are currently. It gives the council a lot more flexibility in the funding mechanisms of that section. So if I was to vote right now, and I would say I would probably go along with Councilman Harjo's first motion is to do the first one with using the contingency fund, so I don't have to pull out of other funding, have them go negative, out of other departments go negative, or keep it, sorry, I'm trying to figure out the word I'm looking for, so that my department heads don't have to go negative in that account and figure out where they're going to fund all the other line items that they're going to have to take out of to make sure that at the end of the day that their budget is solvent. So, Councilman Sanders.
Mr. Mayor.
Councilman Sanders.
Members of the council. The way this has been presented to us, there are only two options. If I had to choose between the two options, if they were separate, and I could only take one of the two as two separate operations, I would want the water and the wastewater done. I think there's more value added in what we would learn in that than there is in the other departments, which is why I went for both options. So at this point, Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to reconsider my previous motion.
So, council, what do you guys want to do? Council members, what do y'all want to do? Mayor, as we all know, that time is of the essence. Councilman McCarthy, and legal, and we probably better do something tonight. So, Councilman Harjo.
Councilman Sanders, I definitely agree with your point is that, however, with the conflicting schemas of availability fees and impact fees, you cannot do the two at the same time. That motion would imply that we have boxed ourselves into a corner of, well, we've already paid to have the impact fee study done on things we don't collect impact fees on now. I understand where you're talking about the value of data, but the data is kind of apples and oranges in that sense because we're not utilizing that schema of collecting those fees under that purpose. That's my point in option number 2 does not make sense to me to go down that road. I'm not saying that there's not a need to assess water and wastewater availability fees. In this, if we're going to get a study about impact fees that we don't use, that's the part that doesn't make sense for me to scope. It's not to say that we can't come back to that and ask Tischler to look at our availability fees in the schema that we have long adopted and have made use of. I think those are the points, the delineation point between those two things that doesn't ring for me.
Councilman.
Sorry, I know there's a motion on the table. I'm trying to keep the form, but let me get my thoughts here. Councilman Sanders, I understand the water and wastewater. As someone that was on the previous DIFAC, bringing that forward with NAMPA, and very much in favor of moving towards that direction. Again, I'm very much concerned though when it comes to the availability fees, and we have to really look about how that is. NAMPA has their availability fee and they have an impact fee, but they are split up so that impact fees are actually going to the CIP projects, where the availability fee, I'll say available hookup fee, is going into their own accounts when I discussed with them last year. So I definitely think it's something, again, the wastewater, Paul, correct me if I'm wrong, but I've read this pretty hard on the wastewater, is that the impact fees have a 20-year cycle on the wastewater. It's one of the exceptions to
Correct.
impact fees.
As opposed to 8.
So I can see that we definitely need a 20-year plan, I would think. But I'm juggling here because how nice would have had these conversations last year. And that's where I'm frustrated, is because I don't necessarily want police, fire, and parks and streets to pay for something that should have been taken care of last year. And quite frankly, the year before, and that when these things were being brought up by the DIFAC. So that's where I'm torn of. Very much, we have to get this CIP done. We legally have to get this done. We have the data. We know it's wrong. However, my contemplation is, how much are you going to use the contingency fund, and how much should these 4 departments pay for the option 1? I think definitely we should come back to option 2. It might not make sense, but we have to get this under control now, because this is something that we are legally bound by Idaho code. And so my struggle is, do we make these departments pay for the inaction of this, what should have been done a long time ago? That's what I'm struggling with. And I don't want any of the departments, police, streets, and that to be caught up in this.
So with that, there's a motion. Do I have a second?
Mr. Mayor,
Councilman,
I'd like to amend my motion.
Go ahead, Councilman Sanders.
I'd like to amend my motion. We move to approve option 1, and that any funds necessary to be transferred from contingency in order to make project cost balance be authorized.
Second. It's been motioned and seconded. Any further discussion?
Mr. Mayor.
Here.
If I might ask a legal question, should the motion include to utilize the funds from the prior impact fee study?
Yeah.
So we get 8,000.
There are some.
Yes. Yeah, $32,000, so $8,000 for each department.
The way he phrased it, however, to make it balance, I would assume that that's included in it, but for clarification purposes.
Councilman Sanders.
Paul's very intuitive. He's correct in his interpretation of my motion.
Okay, it's been motioned and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for the question. Councilman Harjo.
Aye.
Councilwoman Workla.
Aye.
Councilman McCarthy.
Aye.
Councilman Sanders.
Aye.
All right. Thank you. We're going to run down to number 6, action deliberation decision to reinstate resolution 2025R, thereby reinstating the Planning and Zoning Commission to serve in the Capacity Development Impact Fee Committee. The reason I asked this one to be on here, or actually that I would have it on this one, is because I only had 5 applicants that put in, and per the Idaho code, all 5 transcribed themselves as all developers. So with this, my thought process would be to reinstate the P&Z and take out of the 5 applicants, 2 of the applicants, and place them on P&Z. That was kind of my thought process out of the 5 applicants, because right now you have 5 applicants that are all developers, and I need 2 and 2, yeah. So the P&Z already made sure that we are already good with DIFAC. So my thought process, once again, taken out of the 5, just take 2. But like I said, I got to interview all the 5 and say, hey, do you want to sit on PNC too? So that might whittle it down to just 2. So that was my plan. So that's my ask of this council.
Mr. Mayor,
Councilman Sanders.
is the plan you just presented going to increase the number of seats on P&Z?
It will, sir.
And that will require, what not, an amendment to several legal documents the city uses to run that committee?
I
Right now you've got a prescribed number
don't
of seats.
think so. I think it says, but I don't know.
Well, the law has a window.
Right.
But I think our ordinance has a specific number.
11.
11.
11 is the number.
Then no, if that's correct.
Yep.
That is.
And
as little as
T
5.
is always correct.
So yeah, exactly. All the way up to 11.
I've read it Friday afternoon with Brenda. Okay. Unless you guys amended it since then.
No.
Might have.
So council, what do you got?
Mayor.
Councilman McCarthy.
So I have first question. Who designed the application for the DIFAC? The 8-page, or excuse me, the 8 questions that we had on that application. Who designed that?
It was with legal and myself.
So on the city website, they have who should apply, and it says qualified applicants may experience and have background in such areas, development, construction, real estate, or other related fields. And I know that the application has those check boxes there. So my question, and I'm coming off of my HR profession, when I look at this application and this advertisement of it, it came off very strong that we were only looking for these individuals that are in those fields, where there could have been better language to push out saying that we are looking for anyone interested in it. You might have these things, but necessarily it doesn't disqualify you. So when I go through the application and I see that we have the applicants who applied, to me it's very much of the application came off as, well, do you just have experience and whatnot in this? And so when you look at the applicants, we had someone that is a contractor, an electrician, a applicant who is a hardware store owner, another applicant who's a program manager, PE, and then another applicant who's a retired self-employed that does consulting for Access. So talking with Jeff, the question becomes, is it someone is automatically disqualified as someone by Idaho code who's in development, real estate, or building when it is not their, I'll say, profession of it. So the discussion on that when I had with Jeff is, well, this is a very good question because it seems like it doesn't come up much with, well, what if somebody has, well, the individual applicant, I'll say number 3, who had the hardware store owner, well, they had put that they do things with their private property when it comes to building and that. So does that automatically disqualify them?
I would say no.
So right there, we already have one person that meets the non-development field.
I'm not aware of a single case anywhere where, and it wouldn't be a DIFAC, it would be more like P&Z, where somebody was challenged because of what their exact profession was. I've never heard of it, but.
So I guess my question is, I understand your concern and you brought it up in the email that you had sent in about this. I mean, we didn't even get the application out for a month. And to me, it's a little bit frustrating, but we can turn around in less than 14 days and get a golf advisory committee. And so, which I applaud. And so when I look at this application, I kind of have to say, I don't think it should have taken a month to come up with that application, even though I know that government runs slow and is trying to do it right. And so really, we've only had this announcement out for a month. And now if we already have one applicant who meets that non-development piece, I would really consider looking at another applicant to see if they meet that, where they are a retired self-employment, they actually work for ITD, but because they do some consulting on the side and that, does that make them for access, consulting for an access, does that mean that they're in construction or building and all that? And that's kind of where I'm asking this body is to, and thank you, Tiffany, for sending out the applications, is I think we really need to screen how this application was done, that it might mislead what these actual professions are. We have a contractor, a local contractor, and we have an electrician. those meet the two requirements of the development, which is building, construction, or real estate. We already have one that's a local hardware store owner here. So while I understand that this administration wants to reinstill this resolution, I guess my question is that should we give more time and let also some follow-up consideration for this application? Because again, looking at it, it's very skewed to have applicants answer that they have some experience where it might just be private. Another thing I'd like for this body to consider is that the DIFAC in the past was a unpaid volunteer position. And so while this idea of putting everything to P&Z might sound great because we need it, that is going to now incur a cost because there's a $60 cost that we have there. And as someone who was on the DIFAC that worked with the county EMS project and that, I can say we had quite a few meetings last year. And when I talked to Jeff today, the push is to have the DIFAC meet once a month for city to keep a pulse on this growth rate and the projects and also the impact fees so it does not come to what we are now dealing with, and also meeting bi-monthly with the county. So if you take 5 people on that and add up the math, you're talking over $5,000 that we could be adding when we put these to P&Z. So again, I think there's a cost consideration there that we have to think of. And lastly, I'll say for right now, why would we want to turn away people who are experts in their field on this by the experience, I should say, that they have, and dismiss another independent body that can help keep an eye on this CIP, which we are very much under Idaho code. Again, because are we against having another checks and balance to make sure we don't get in the same position that we're at? Where we put it in P&Z, it might end up exactly like we did last time, because the CIP, when it was first drafted, was not listening to the DIFAC experts and said about the cost of the projects, the growth rate assumptions, which were well over 4% initially, and that all those things needed consideration. And those expertise were not listened to, and now we're at where we're at. So again, I ask that we have a little more scrutiny on these applications. If it's so be, you could always bring 2 individuals from P&Z over. There are other cities that I know of that you have P&Z members that are also on the impact fee DIFAC, but a separate body. So I get off my soapbox.
Councilman Harjo. Councilman McCarthy, through your dialogue in this, you pointed out that there's overlap in P&Z. Our development impact fee chapter entitled in Idaho Code says expressly, an existing planning or zoning commission may serve as the development impact fee advisory committee for the governing authority. You mentioned the dollar impact to it, without also then considering that there is additional staff time for department heads that already work a 9 to 5, 8 to 5, excuse me. Adding more dates to the calendar that those people are both on the clock and away from their families after hours. All of the considerations that you've pointed out here highlight the fact that our existing planning and zoning commission not only was capable of it, but other cities have utilized them in this, whether that's a carryover of 2 or a carryover of 5. The very arguments that you made against the Planning and Zoning Commission, both in the presentation that you gave several months back and tonight, highlight specifically that planning and zoning is actually the most equipped, the most efficient, and the most efficient with dollars, and the best use of staff time. That's exactly what that highlights. So I'm not understanding where the perspective that the existing planning and zoning was unqualified, could not be impartial in land use. That was literally on your slide, that they're incapable of being impartial in land use. That is specifically their role under 6765 of Idaho Code. Specifically. It is a very codified and very rigid format. I don't really understand where the axe to grind here is with having planning and zoning who meets the need, who meets all the criteria, not do this role, especially when it's more efficient and when it's cost saving.
Here, Councilman Harley. So, Councilman Harley, you keep bringing up efficiency, but is not the efficiency aspect of it exactly why we're in this predicament? Because again, we did not listen to what the DIFAC had been bringing up all these times. And so, I guess my concern is I always hear about efficiency, but yet when efficiency comes into checks and balances and we end up where we're at, how does that efficiency actually come out as efficiency? I guess my question now is, if we don't feel that these applicants are qualified, there is no harm in having another body as a checks and balance and having a set of eyes on this so that we do not end up again where we're at.
I'll say this, I didn't say any of them are not qualified. I think that they're all qualified. Like I said, that was my kind of compromise. Like to get this thing going, I'll take 2 of the 5. I know one of them sitting right in the front row. So I'm amenable.
Like how long ago?
2 years ago.
Yeah.
Just you did email.
Oh, DIFAC one. Oh, the DIFAC.
Mayor.
Are you trying to get me to stop doing that?
Councilman McCarthy.
So thank you for pointing that out, because if we already have one applicant who is a non-development, I believe Mr. Dudley was not considered in this 5 applicant pool. So if he applies into it, you could appoint him, and the DIFAC would then be meeting their requirements.
And you could record it and keep the minutes too.
Hey, we're killing 2 birds with one stone.
2 for 1.
Gotcha.
I'm charging you.
Not to put Mr. Dudley on the spot here, but I would hope that he would want to put in for it. So that
He did. I would like to bring for the lumberyard reference. He doesn't reside in the city of Montana. He's disqualified.
Mayor.
Councilman McCarthy.
Tiffany, thank you so much for that. I talked to Jeff about that because of our new intergovernmental agreement with the city. Now we've changed the service area.
I agree. Your ordinance doesn't reflect that specific to development impact fee. So you would have to, I believe, amend your code to address the service area. I as well talked to Jeff, so I'm just saying.
So it sounds like Jeff giving all of us a special counsel.
Just depends.
They don't want to
It just depends on what words you're talking about.
That's a great point. So now I have the question of,
You can call them and ask them for reliable.
if that's the same, then that would apply to the planning and zoning, because our city ordinance requires that we have someone that lives outside in the county. So thus now we don't.
We got those.
We do.
Yeah, we do.
We have individuals that reside in the area of impact.
Sorry, clarification before. When we had them, it was the city service area.
No, we have Rotor. William.
Mayor.
Councilman.
Before, Paul, what was the city's service area before we did the intergovernmental agreement?
Before what?
Area of service. What was the area of service before we had the intergovernmental agreement with the county?
I had no idea.
The city limits. So my question then is that because of that, when P&Z has a requirement by our ordinance to have a member who lives in the county, is that not a conflict? When the area of service is the city limits of Mountain.
I don't know. I'd have to take a
Councilman Harjo.
You're fishing and you're wanting me to.
So,
you're leading me astray, and I don't like that.
Here's the thing, Council. I put this on here as an action deliberation decision to reinstate Resolution 2025R, thereby reestablishing the Planning and Zoning Commission to serve at the capacity of development impact fee. And I'm asking also to add 2 more members to the board. That was my ask for tonight. So if that's not what this council or this body wants to do, then we could go back to the drawing board. Councilwoman Curran.
Let's just appease everybody and just do the blending option. So we got people that are on P&Z that want to serve, kudos, great. We have people that applied who want to serve, great. We can combine them both and move forward.
I like it.
Okay.
Perfect. Is there a motion?
Oh.
Mayor.
Go ahead, Councilwoman.
Councilwoman Workman, was that a motion?
Well, that was really a bad motion if it was. Would you like me to clean that up?
So let me choose two to bring back for the next council meeting to put on the day.
So you mean like vacant? I mean to, let's say that.
Yeah, I would like to take out of the 5 that applied, or 6 that applied, I'll take 2 and then put them on the P&Z that will serve also as the DIFAC.
Okay, hang on. How many that applied are qualified? I'm so sorry.
I have no idea.
Okay.
I don't know.
Jeff.
Jeff has been the one who's been in all of this.
This is what I'm going to say.
I don't know
Who's
why.
ever eligible, because you can have up to how many? 11. So who's ever eligible and is raising their hand that they want to do the duty, put them along with the P&Z so everyone can serve.
You said duty.
I agree.
Okay.
Need comic relief for a moment.
I'll make a motion to reinstate Resolution 2025R, thereby reestablishing Planning and Zoning Commission to serve in the capacity of the Development Impact Fee Committee, with the addition of 2 additional members to be appointed by the mayor per state law and ordinance.
All right, it's been a motion. Do I have a second? It's not what you want now? Well, then it puts me over. Yeah, it does. Thought it had 7 currently.
5. Yeah. I don't know where you're going to seat everybody, but sure.
The
11
numbers
chairs.
the numbers work, right?
So I'm asking for 2.
I have
And that wasn't my ask. Anyone who wants to serve, we put in their application, bring them in if they're eligible per state law or code, whatever, and then.
So 5 just that are eligible, not the 5 currently. Hey, come on down, Topher.
I feel your pain.
Probably hold your breath back there.
Broke his bone.
Council, I have one question. Why do you find the Planning and Zoning Commission isn't qualified to do the things that it's needed to do?
It's not that, Mayor. Oh my gosh, it's not that at all. You taught my son. I think you're brilliant. No, but what I'm saying is that what he made a comment, he says, it does not hurt for checks and balances, right? It doesn't hurt to have a separate committee to oversee certain guidelines to pass on, right? When you start putting multiple duties on just one committee, then that's where the checks and balances might get a little bit muddy.
But here's my problem with that is those checks and balances are exactly what we do as a Planning and Zoning Commission. We have to know everything that is going on in the CIP. So all of the growth, which we could have addressed by now, but we can't have a DIFAC because this is where we're at. We could have been addressing that for the past month and a half, but we haven't been because somebody doesn't feel as though Planning and Zoning is qualified to where we can be and what we need to do. Now, with all due respect, Councilman McCarthy, there's a difference between transparency and control. And what I'm hearing from you is you want control and not transparency, because as Councilman Harjo stated, there is multiple things within our ordinances alone that we must follow. And if not, we have counsel that says you can't do that. So this is our checks and balances right here with Jeff and with Paul. I mean, that's if really checks and balances is what you're concerned with, every single Planning and Zoning Committee meeting we have, we are always turning to council and saying, where are we at with this? Is this okay? So I'm not sure where we have to go, well, we need 2 more, or we need 3 more, or we just need a completely separate, because to be honest with you, we are doing on the council what you need us to do.
We're adding to it, Mayor.
Council.
We are adding to it, right? So you're already doing it, but then with the new CIP that you're going to be adding to it.
Because we have to follow the CIP.
Right, but to amend the new CIP, which we already proved tonight, it's not correct.
Right. So then we still then, as the Planning and Zoning Commission, knowing what the CIP needs to say and what we have to follow, we have that then recommended to you as the council from the Planning and Zoning Commission. So we're following our own what we set up with the CIP and within the DIFAC committee. We are following that.
Mayor, Councilman McCarthy.
Thank you for your comments. And that seems that you made the statement that you think this is about control, or that I don't think P&Z is qualified, where to the point of what is the harm with having another independent body that works with you and having these qualified applicants on that to give more experience and more eyes on this. So again, if the conversation or the taking away was that I was saying P&Z is not qualified, that is not by any means what I'm saying. The point of being is that there can be an independent body like other municipalities do. Why not have another independent body that can help with this recommendations that go to you, and you guys are another set of eyes on it, and then it comes to city council. Where the problem is, in the beginning of the CIP, it was not listened to by experts who were architects or any of these contractors and that, and they were discussing how the cost of it or the growth rates were not what they were going to be, which we now see, and yet it went unheard and went on. So if we're taking out another body that can help with recommendations, is that not setting us up? I wouldn't say setting up, taking away from another or adding expertise to it.
Have you ever heard of too many cooks in the kitchen? That's exactly what this argument is. This argument is, how many people do we want to have eyes on something that if we have one body doing that, that's already doing that, why do we need more? If government is always about bureaucracy, then sure, get another committee, because that's what government is good at, is committees. Or if you want to move along with progress, you trust the people who are there doing the job, knowing what to do, give them the authority to then move forward with recommendations for a council so we can get things done. It's an argument of bureaucracy in my mind.
Mayor, Councilman Harjo, who's next?
So for amen. Amen. As somebody that I worked with on planning and zoning and sat on that body, this tile that is up here from Councilman McCarthy's presentation is the very one that I argued the same night that we had our joint session. Planning and zoning had adjourned their meeting. This topic comes up on the council's agenda. The statements made here that the benefits of separation are impartial land use decisions. That is specifically Idaho Code 6765. That is the actual legislative intent for planning and zoning. Clear statutory compliance. 67. 8305, I think is what it is for development impact fee. Again, these are the qualified people. These are the experts in this field. This is the more efficient for the actual action. This is more efficient for the dollar, the taxpayer dollar, and this is more efficient for staff time. We'll stop.
Mayor, you want to say before I let you go? Was there a motion made? If there was no motion made, was there?
Jenny made a motion.
Oh, he made a motion.
And Jen
Okay,
said-
so really quick, there's been a motion made. Do I have a second? Okay, I'm waiting.
Are you okay if we bring two more on that applied? Or are you still saying, damn it, Jenny, why can't you trust me?
I mean, if it's two that y'all need because you want transparency, it's then it's two. But if you already have people that are doing the job, there should be no conversation to this. It should be as simple as, hey, we got these people doing the thing. Let's make them do this thing. It's all in unison. Let's go.
But that's not the conversation that we're having. It's a bureaucracy conversation. And the government's good at that. But I'm saying if you want progress and movement forward, we could have addressed the 1.3% that you talked about earlier tonight within the past 2.5 months. But we haven't been because DIFAC's nowhere here. Planning and zoning could have been having that conversation already. But we're not. That's what I'm saying.
Mayor.
Councilwoman.
Second.
Been a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for the question. Councilman Sanders.
Nay.
Councilman McCarthy. Nay. Councilman Workla.
Aye.
Councilman Harjo. Aye. Mayor votes aye.
So we're adding 2 more. Yes?
Yeah, I'll get you 2. That was
Okay.
Right.
All right, I just want to be
5 minutes.
Okay.
Thank you, Council.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, really quick, Council, I wanted to address some of the wastewater concerns that we've been talking about. The wastewater concerns obviously was the $75 million that Keller gave back, or came back, or the 10 million. And correct me if I'm wrong with my numbers. So I have, how do I equate this? Just like I think we all are very cognizant of, we all have taxpayers, or I should say fee payers that we're worried about if we did the wastewater treatment plant. And what was that, like $55 or $75 extra a month? And we all have people that we know in our constituencies or our areas that say, I can't afford that. We also have people that we're trying to find funding for Cell Lagoon 10. And it's been brought up twice that we didn't get the funding for it. Okay. So I've come up with I think a pretty good alternative for everybody, where it doesn't hit the rate fee payer. We're probably gonna bring it back to council if you guys so agree with it, but to do the Cell Lagoon 10 with our own money. Go out for RFQ, workers' qualification, seal bids to put in Cell Lagoon 10, and then bring that back to the council and put that in, and that gets us we're not worried about the 85% capacity, we don't have to have discussion of the wastewater treatment facility just until we can figure out the funding mechanisms for our wastewater treatment facility. I still think that the city in the future will definitely need a wastewater treatment facility, but there's a twofold application when I'm going to say this. So then in, let's say we go out for all this funding, we still don't get it, hopes and dreams, right, Councilman McCarthy? And we don't get the hopes and dreams. Then we do is with our own funding, our own money, we do Cell Lagoon 5 and 6, which are the clay lined ones, and the following year, next year would be Cell Lagoon 10. And then in the incumbents years, if you guys got to build up your reserve funds, well, with all the new builds, we fund it all in-house. So with that, I know I just threw a lot at you, but if I can find a way to procure Cell Lagoon 10 using our own money, nobody else's money, and I can do it for like $4 million, what's your thought process on that? Should I bring that to the council? Mayor, Councilman Harjo?
I'm intrigued. If we can make that happen in that price range, it's an attractive idea. I'd like to know the details about it.
Okay. Remember we got a quote back, what was it, 10 million or 12 million from Keller's to put in Cell Lagoon 10. They've already done the engineering of that whole cell. So my thought process, just like we did with the solar bees, is we go out, we do an RFQ, or a request for a proposal, RP, and we get back a company that is licensed, fully insured, bonded, DEQ approved, all that. They have their own stamps. They follow the Keller's design. I think we have a workaround, but let me get more details in that aspect, because I know we have something April 30th. We have the Keller presentation here moving forward. I'm just curious to hear your guys' thought processes. I know I just threw a lot at you, What's that?
Put on the next meeting agenda.
Okay. Thoughts?
Mr. Mayor,
Councilman?
I too am curious to see more specifics, and tongue in cheek, I will say don't forget the in kind on your budget when you propose it.
No, it won't be in kind. No, because I'm not going down that path again. No, we have been in talks, trying to figure out a way to fund it. And right now, we know for a fact from our financial advisors that Clearwater, that DEQ right now is only funding, 10% of the total projects allocated to the state. And with the state's fiscal issues right now at the State House, we don't foresee funding in that capacity anytime soon. So 75 million is gone. Unless we were, I think, at dire, like we were at capacity at over 85%. So we have to get ingenious. And I think what the state government does is they go, you know what? We're going to put that on the cities and the counties to figure out, because you guys are good at that. And, you know, and it hurts cities. So I will say that the state left the levy rate alone, which helps counties and cities quintessentially do their budget. We know, which was good. So here moving forward, I will, no in kind, but I will bring you back a proposal that we've been working on for the past probably 3-4 weeks for the citizens of Mount Home, because I know I have a lot of constituents that just honestly say I can't afford a bond, I can't afford the rate to go up that high, and I think we all have, I know we all have the same constituents that say that you can't afford it. So give me some time, and when I get the proposal and all that to you guys, I will bring it forward. We had some good progress on it the last couple days. So I have Stacy at Public Works and Chris working on it. So Chris was here. He could probably give you a better synopsis of it, of where we're trying to push into the future as well. Yep.
Okay. Several things. First of all, I want to give a shout out to Amber. How many hours does it take to do the minutes? 30?
34.
It just depends how long.
That's insane. That's a whole work week. Wow, that's amazing. I thought it was all recorded and it was just tweaking it. I'm so sorry, Amber. That's a lot.
I'll just for
No, that's
I'll show you the transcription of Microsoft Teams.
Yeah, that's crazy. So thank you. I just want to make a statement. I'm confused why you voted nay on that last one over on the side of the table. You're the one that put the idea in my head that other cities are collaborate and bring up both sides, right? Have PNZ work with DIFAC. So you brought up the idea. I went with it. I don't know why you vote nay. Okay, got that on record. Third thing, Mayor, I'm going to come after you. I called you yesterday and I warned you. Okay. So there's been emails going out from the golf community stating that we have a golf pro, a city golf pro. I just want you to clarify that we do not have a pro assigned to Desert Canyon Golf Course, and that the council will be making their decision on which way to move forward with either a city employee pro, a contracted pro, or a leased pro out to a third party. I asked also that the next golf advisory meeting is May 4th, so then after they meet, have them come on May 12th so they can present their recommendations on what direction we should take with the golf course and the pro. I need to make that clear for record, because right now there's rumors that there's an individual out there is stating that they're taking lessons with the title of Desert Canyon Director of Instruction. There's pricing, there's ideas on how the golf shop is going to move forward. I just need it for clarification. That's not a thing, correct? That's not happening? Or is that happening? Is there an individual doing that?
There isn't. We talked about this yesterday.
I know, but is it underneath the guise of being a city, ties to the city, right? I know this person's a seasonal worker, but are we advertising them as the new pro, new city pro?
I haven't advertised to anybody. I said we have a seasonal worker that happens to be a pro. Just like any pro could come out to the city and give lessons. Anybody can come. So at the end of the day, that's where we're at.
Okay, no, thank you. I just wanted to clarify because the email that's going out to like the women's league, it says our new golf pro so and so is officially at the golf course and is anxious to meet everyone. So we don't have a golf pro besides assigned to the city.
I would say Chris is a city employee that is a pro. That's it. All right, what else we got cooking? Any final comments? Oh, Councilman Archer, sorry.
To build upon Councilwoman Workman's question and statement there. This council had a fundamental issue with having our golf concessionaire as a sitting member of the Golf Advisory Committee. An individual that is a seasonal employee of the city, would become a seasonal employee of the city around about within the same several week time frame being appointed to that committee. I think if we're going to take that approach with the concessionaire, we should be taking that approach with our employee as well.
Mm-hmm.
That perhaps the logical thing to do here is invite our concessionaire, invite our golf staff as advisors and listeners to that body. Again, reassuring that the Golf Advisory Committee does not control a budget or have line authority over the staff or our contractor, but to hear those concerns in real time by the assembled advisory committee. I think it is, if we're going to say that having the concessionaire is inappropriate, I would also then say that having a city employee is also, the city employee working at that facility is also moving on. This is for Mayor and Paula. The budget is coming up. We have staff memos in here. I really appreciate what the finance department and the budget timeline. Paula, thank you. That's a file that we've shared back and forth several times in just in the textual context of the workflow of the weeks and months leading up to budget. We have several new council members. Mayor and Paula, would you be willing to share with the council at perhaps an earlier date than what we have experienced in the past, so the council can look at expense sheets, revenue sheets, whatever's available, whether that's in draft or I understand that we're still early in the process of solidifying that on the administrative side, but to give kind of that early aspect where council members can go interact with the department heads earlier than what is typical, so we can gain an understanding of what's to come.
Right. And in full transparency, guys, I want you guys to know that right now we have sat down at ELT and just talked about kind of their budgets they've gotten with Paula, but fiscally conservative is my key takeaway from sitting up here. So I want to make sure at the end of the day we start 26, 27 in looking fiscally responsible and really good. So definitely, you got to remember, if we're going to send it to you early, it's still draft. So don't take it as gospel. That's all I ask. Go ahead.
Mayor and Council, I only have the expenditures done. I don't have revenue. I don't have cash carryover. I don't have property tax projected. But I definitely have the expense. There are notes from department heads kind of on the right-hand side in orange that you might see. But again, it's a draft. So yeah, I can send that out in the morning if that works. But when I get the revenue done, I'm happy to share that. I just don't have it.
Maybe understanding that those expenditure sheets are in draft, we can watermark those and maybe password lock that, so there's no confusion in the sense that when we obtain that draft copy, that we're not a month down the road, we're not like pulling up the wrong one on our computers.
Yeah.
Don't print them. They're not even ready. They're not even ready.
They don't want to be confused.
Yeah. So, and then if you find notes or, you're confused on what the department heads are requesting, that's absolutely a great opportunity to reach out to them or me before we're in the meeting.
So when you guys get your budget in the meeting, it will be finalized by the department heads and city staff, and then you guys can rip it to shreds. But just know that, just give us some time so we can make sure that we had some issues last year. We sat, talking about the golf course and all that. And then we ended up having to fix some of the things during the budgeting season. So we don't want to be in that predicament again. We want to know every line item is specific to each line item. Have an explanation to you guys in quantifiable detail for you guys to understand. So,
Mayor,
Councilman Hardrow.
to follow that, from a fellow council, we've talked in the past about the opportunity for council to have training sessions. I understand the need for that. I wanted to point out, because we're approaching budget season, Association of Idaho Cities recently sent us an email within the last maybe 2 or 3 emails that they've sent that had a link to download the 2027 AIC budget manual. You have to be a member to access that. It's a free download, costs us nothing, in addition to the normal dues that we pay for that. But that document has been a wealth of knowledge. It's published annually. It has up-to-date aspects of state budgeting, how legislation has affected cities, even so much as the definition of terminology and what funds mean and what other terminology actually by legal definition is. I would highly recommend reading that. It is a long read, unfortunately, and it's not the most exciting thing at times, but it is very comprehensive. So I would suggest taking a look at that. Lastly, dispatch agreement. We have previous council went rounds about this. This council, as of today, we have 229 days left on our 2-year countdown after the cancellation of the dispatch agreement. Previous council met with the county commissioners regarding what their concerns were, what the asks were. The majority of those asks were very straightforward. Some of them were not necessarily pertaining to the dispatch agreement itself. In July of last year, mayor, staff, chiefs sat down and put together a draft of the document that put a lot of modern intelligence to the things that the previous contract had not necessarily captured, in terms of simple things like asking for an invoice from the county commission, putting the payment due date on a 60-day net, because as parallel agencies, our funding is activated at different times throughout our fiscal years. I would ask this council and the mayor the support to bring that draft in either the next council meeting or the following, get our language ironed out, create a joint session with the county commission, and go address it directly.
Where is it? Isn't it sitting with them?
Mm-hmm.
The draft that we came up with?
Yep.
What's wrong with that draft?
My offer to bring that to this is if our new members have anything to add to that. That was drafted and approved by a previous council. I do think that as it sits, it was efficient and straightforward. Regardless, I would like to get in front of the county commission and start working on actual dialogue so we can get this reinstated in the interest of public safety.
Right. Councilman McCarthy?
Do you have any final comments, Councilman?
I do, but he calls you, so go first.
Go ahead, Councilman McCarthy.
I'll defer to Councilman Cameron.
Okay, meeting adjourned.
Okay, the people wisest. I am going to track back as the council liaison for the Golf Advisory Committee, board, whichever it is. I was not prepared to have the city employee that was recently hired as seasonal staff present in the meeting. My radar got piqued when a gentleman said, "I teach you lessons, but none of you can afford me." Those were his words. And I wondered to myself, because I recall signing off on his hiring sheet with his rate, that why would anyone with that level of expertise, with that level of background, be willing to work for that rate? So I went in today and asked of our HR to show me the job description for that seasonal employee position, only to find that the city does not keep job descriptions for seasonal employees, which on the one hand says that a seasonal employee could do anything directed by the mayor. In this instance, based upon the information that's been relayed to me by members of the men's and the women's league, this particular employee is performing duties that I find more associated with the manager's position than I do a seasonal employee's position. My concern with that is, I was raised in a system where you had duties commensurate to grade. That does not appear to be the case here, and there has been occasion in federal world where when someone's performing duties far above their grade, when they were separated, they sued and won for not being paid commensurate to the work that we're being asked to perform. So that's my concern, Mr. Mayor. We handle a seasonal employee, especially where there's no job description out there. Be careful how we use them.
Yep. I have the same concerns that it wasn't relayed to us that we were having the seasonal hire that was going to actually be on the Golf Advisory Committee. So I do have the same concerns, especially since we did discuss that with the contractor. So figure out how to go about that, I guess. So also I agree. I would like to invite, I'll say this, open dialogue with the county commissioners so we can get the dispatch agreement going. It's something that definitely needs to go. So if we can get a workshop or whatnot going, I think that would be great, especially since we are on the clock. So as to the comment, I think of the nay and asking about the P&Z, the piece was that there's a city that has two separate bodies and that they have two members on each of those bodies that wear the same hat. I think it's disappointing, again, the way it is, but it's interesting to me how it seems to be all smoke and mirrors to cover up that nothing's happening and we could have gotten this done with P&Z and all that, but wouldn't it have been so amazing if we had gotten this done when the DIFAC had been bringing this up in the past enough? So I hope that what transpired tonight does not dismiss accountability for the past with this administration. So with that being said, I'll leave it at that.
Okay.
Wait, don't hit the gavel, Mayor.
Yes, ma'am.
You can always bring something back. There you go.
Mr. Mayor,
Councilman
It's not
Sanders.
working.
I hope this is the last comments made on this, but with reference to the discussion that just occurred, my nay vote came from a perception of we talk a lot about Idaho code, but the whole purpose behind that chapter was to establish and to govern the operations of that committee. The fact that a P&Z could also be allowed to do that was not the primary focus of the writing of that chapter. It was if you don't want to have a DIFAC, here's a way out. You can do it with your P&Z. But if you're going to do a DIFAC, you do it this way. If you have P&Z do it, they're going to do it these duties that way. And I've also not only campaigned on, but I believe in trust but verify. When we lose the ability to do that, then we can fall into that part of our humanity that makes errors, and there's nobody there to catch them unless we catch them ourselves.
and hence my nay vote. Thank you.
Major.
May I make a comment?
You can say anything you want. Meeting's done.
I know, I wanted to before, but Paul said no. Just to comment on my application, and I'm assuming that the other applicants applied to a position that was based on an independent body, not being part of P&Z. I mean, I've applied for P&Z as well, but that's just a comment, you know. Not
So then,
that
if you're the guy, then you get both your P&Z and
my socks aren't tall enough for that.
Send out one email.
Peanut butter and jelly.
I just wanted to say that.
You will get your packet regularly, Mr. Dudley.
I heard it.